I quit.
This game means so very much to me. inFAMOUS was unlike any other game I have ever played. It was my first experience with a PS3, and boy did it change my view on PlayStation as a whole. I became obsessed with inFAMOUS. I had it as my background on my iPod, I looked up everything about the game in my free time, I thought about playing the game all damn day. The reason I think I was so obsessed with inFAMOUS was because I actually didn't own a PlayStation 3. My uncle did. I went to my aunt's house every other weekend and got to play his PS3, eventually. So that's almost a 2-week waiting period to play this game I was absolutely and utterly obsessed with. I'd leave her house on Sunday and then wait 2 agonizing weeks to play the game again. When I got my hands on it, I binge played the hell out of it, man. Until 3 a.m. I was on that PlayStation. I couldn't stop. I'd go to sleep for a few hours and wake up and start playing it all over again. It was some of the best gaming memories I've ever had. inFAMOUS absolutely blew my tiny little kid mind. Everything about it. The story, mechanics, karma system, enemies, upgrades, city, traversal, everything. I haven't played this beloved game of mine in a very long time, 10 years to be exact. I wanted to experience this game again as an adult and see if all the greatness in the game was true or if it was just blind nostalgia. I was terrified to play this game and get in fear of not liking it at all anymore. I would genuinely be heartbroken. I've already found out that some games from my childhood that I loved aren't that good anymore, and it hurt. So is inFAMOUS great? Well, in order to find that out, we have to go back, way back. Sucker Punch was founded in October of 1997. Their very first game was Rocket Robot on Wheels for the Nintendo 64, funny enough. That would be their last Nintendo game they would ever make. They signed a deal with Sony in the year 2000 to make the Sly Cooper games. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard of these games. My very first introduction to Sucker Punch was through the winter 2002 Jampack demo disc. On that very same disc was a demo for Sly Cooper, the Thievius Raccoonus. I played this demo over and over and over. I loved this game, but I never owned the full version. Then, in Christmas of 2007, my stepbrother got Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves for Christmas. I begged him to let me play it, and he eventually agreed as long as I traded him Kingdom Hearts 2, which is the present that I got for Christmas. Little did I know that I just traded him one of my favorite games of all time. I had no fucking clue it was that amazing. Like, what the hell was going through my head? But anyways. I put countless hours into that third Sly Cooper. I couldn't believe I had a full version of that game. I beat it multiple times and I fell in love with it. But I saw that logo each and every time I started up the Sly Cooper demo and the third installment of the franchise, Sucker Punch Productions. I didn't know who they were, but I knew I liked them and what they were doing with video games. Fast forward to the year 2009. I'm watching Family Guy on Adult Swim past my bedtime like the absolute hoodlum that I am, and I see this commercial.
The explosion changed my life and ruined everyone else's. Empire City is overrun with criminals and lunatics, cut off from the world by a government quarantine. Everyone thinks I have the power to fix it, but I don't know if I can, or if I even want to.
Rated T for teen.
That was boring as hell. And I continued watching Family Guy. Now, I don't understand what was going through my dumb little head, but I do remember that I didn't understand what this game was even about through that commercial. Probably because it was a CGI commercial and the real game could have been anything. It had everything that I loved at the time though. And to this day, superheroes, fighting, powers, open world, watching this commercial in the present day, it's a great commercial, but I just didn't get it back then. A few months passed by and we start staying at my aunt's house like I mentioned earlier, every other weekend. The first time we'd stayed there, I see my Uncle Matt sitting in his chair in front of the TV. And what do I see him holding? A fucking wireless PlayStation 2 controller. I'd never seen one of those before. But wait, I look a little closer. There's a button in the middle and it has the PlayStation logo. I start to look past them even more and I see it. A PlayStation 3. My jaw hit the floor. You guys don't understand. I had never seen one of these before. It looked so futuristic and next gen. It had the Spider-Man 3 font, which obviously made me fall in love with it even more. I was playing a ton of GameCube and PS2 at the time, so I felt like I hadn't experienced next gen gaming before. My dad bought an Xbox 360 when those came out, but I wasn't too interested in Xbox. I always wanted a PS3, so I'd finally gotten my chance to play the future of gaming in my eyes. I asked my uncle if I could play, and he said,
No!
I mean, I don't blame him. Those consoles were what, $500–600 at the time? That's normal now, but holy shit, that was so expensive back then. I wonder how much that is with inflation. God dang! I asked him every time we went over to their house if I could play it. I was persistent. I was not going to give up this dream. I could feel it deep in my soul, dude. I needed to play this console. He eventually and finally gave in. He asked me what I wanted to play. I look over at his gaming shelf, I start sifting through the games, and I see it. Infamous. This game has one of the best introductions to a video game that I've ever seen. The game opens up with that iconic Sucker Punch logo, but it gets electrified. I love it when game companies do custom animations or effects to logos for that specific game. Infamous starts glowing very faintly at the bottom of the screen. No words, no music, nothing. You are then shown a very active city. If you watch and listen long enough, you can hear happy people talking, children laughing, and you do what the game tells you, and you press that start button. Holy shit, that was intense and awesome. The game then opens up with the main character Cole McGrath laying on the ground, scarred and burnt. There's damage and destruction surrounding him, and he is in the direct middle of this crater. Cole is then told to make his way out, that there was a bombing, and it was because of the terrorists. Seems a little weird to me. Okay, this is 2009. His walking always seems so funny and awkward to me in the opening cutscene. You walk past an open wire type thing, you get absolutely cooked and shocked right to the head, man. If you looked at the cover of the game, you know exactly what's going on. Cole keeps making his way through and bam, shocked again. He finally makes his way to the bridge. Cole then gets shocked one final time and cannot control his powers. He ends up killing all of these people around him, and Zeke immediately says,
It's the terrorists! Run for the bridge, Cole!
Dude, what the hell? You saw lightning strike from the sky during a storm, and you go back to terrorists? That is the terrorists' fault? Whatever. Again, 2009. You run as fast as you can, but lightning can't catch you. You're the
Electric Man!
You pass out from millions of volts running through your body. Damn, again, what an introduction. While Cole is passed out and recovering from the shock, Cole starts narrating that everyone else in the city is getting worse. A plague breaks out and a citywide quarantine is put into effect to prevent the spread. Oh god, I'm starting to get flashbacks. Riots break out, gangs start to take over, cops are either dead or gone. It's basically Mad Max mixed with Grand Theft Auto. And Cole's girlfriend, Trish, is depressed because her sister was killed in that blast. Cole wakes up and starts to realize he has superpowers now. He's getting better at controlling it. Zeke and Cole hear about some food getting dropped nearby. They have this awesome and depressing conversation about how their normal lives used to be, and it's fucking sad.
Hey, remember that time we were coming home from Duffy's and I had to take a leak? And that bike cop was yelling at me to put up my hands.
You pissed all over him.
He told me to put up my hands. While he's fumbling around, I jump back in and we take off. Awesome. Bummer we won't be able to do anything like that again. You know what I miss? Pizza. Big sloppy slice. And payday. Having a big fat wad.
Yeah, I'd settle for some hot water.
It really shows how bad things are and how it will never be the same. It really makes you empathize with the people of this apocalyptic world. It also shows how good of friends Zeke and Cole are. The food finally gets dropped and some conspiracist YouTuber hijacks every screen in the city somehow to tell everybody Cole is the reason for the blast and he has proof. And he shows a picture of Cole holding the bomb. Trish then blames Cole for her sister's death. Civilians start to throw rocks at you. People are calling you a terrorist. God, it's still weird. So the only option is for Cole and Zeke to leave Empire City. This leads to fighting a wall of cops and they break out the machine guns. Cole and Zeke bust through the gate on the bridge to avoid getting shot to fucking death. Zeke falls into the water underneath the bridge, and this brings Cole to Moya, who has apparently been watching Cole and she was waiting for him to get there because she knew he would try to escape Empire City and bust through that exact gate into her office. But how did she know he would bust through that gate and go into her exact office across the bridge? What if he got shot to death or just fell in the water? It just seems kind of like a weird coincidence. I don't know. Anyways, this now brings you to the whole plot and goal of the game. Moya informs you that she lost her husband, John, in the blast. So you have to find Moya's husband, who has been undercover infiltrating a group called the First Sons. The First Sons built the Ray Sphere, which was a device to absorb thousands of people's neuroelectric energy and concentrate that power into one person. This is how Cole got his powers. It turns out Cole was delivering an unknown package to a destination. When he got to that destination, he received a call informing him to open it, and when he did, the Ray Sphere exploded and killed thousands to give Cole his powers. Moya has been trying to find her husband since the night of the blast. She assigns Cole with the task of finding her husband, get the Ray Sphere, and he can be allowed to leave the city and clear his name. This is where the game kicks off and Cole's mission now starts. You are now free to explore this open world of a knockoff New York. Now you can explore the entire city. However, the power is out in most of the areas. You can explore in these very dark areas, but you're just gonna have a real bad time. There are enemies with turrets mounted to semis everywhere. There's also very little electricity to be found, which in turn means it's gonna be very hard to use your powers and to heal. You can turn the power back on in these areas, and remember, this is an open world game from 2009. No, you don't have towers to activate to reveal the map like in every other open world game. No. You have to go into the sewers, so opposite. No more high, you go low, and find the right generator to turn on. Getting to the location of the sewer is a challenge in itself. I played the game on the hardest difficulty, so I got killed really easily in the game. You have to stick to the rooftops, conserve energy, and run as fast as you can to the sewer that is highlighted. Once you finally get there, you are greeted to this generator that needs to be activated by Cole transferring electricity to the other side of the thing. Doing this grants Cole a new electric ability every time, which we will get into the powers later. Once you turn on that power, all is well, and it is much safer to explore those parts of the world. And remember, this is an apocalyptic city. The atmosphere of this world is so damn depressing and dark. Even when it's daytime, the city is just trashed, man. Every car is damaged, buildings are crumbling. Don't even get me started on how sad this looks at night. Whenever I play these portions of the game at night, it legitimately made me want to stop playing and watch or play something wholesome. What makes this even worse, or real, is that the people living in this city, the people walking around, are depressed as shit. They're crying and they're on their knees in the streets. There's dead bodies all over the place. They're commenting on how they wish they could just find the person that they love. People are throwing up and digging through the trash to find food. God, some of the comments from the people make you feel even worse.
I can't believe this is happening to me. Why does the universe hate me? Hate my life. All I've ever done is help people.
God damn, man. I just wanted to play a video game and have some fun, not feel absolutely horrible about a bunch of ones and zeros, but that's exactly what the developers were going for, and it works. They make you want to either feel bad for these people, or if you're fucking sick, make things worse for them. And this brings us to the most fascinating and interesting thing about the infamous franchise. All throughout the game, you are given many choices. To put it simply, a good and a bad choice. One of the first decisions you make determines your path. You approach the food that was dropped for the people in the city that I mentioned earlier. You have a choice of either killing a few people to scare all of them away and keep all of the food for yourself, or you can just let the starving people grab what they want and do nothing. If you make the bad choice, it sets your karma level to thug, and you get red lightning. You also start to notice Cole is looking a little more strange. And if you make a good choice, you keep your blue lightning and you're promoted to guardian, and Cole starts to look more healthy and bright. You can also slightly boost your karmic level using very basic powers. You'll come across a lot of injured people on the streets. You can heal them to ever so slightly boost your good karma level, or you can kill everyone in sight to slightly boost your evil karma level. You can always change your karma path to a certain point, but honestly, it's kind of a waste of XP and time since you have to be bad to use bad powers and good to use good powers. But still, it's a nice addition. If you spend XP on a good power and then switch to bad, you can't use the power you just spent XP on. And as you progress through your karma level, you will either become more brighter and angelic in a way, or more sadistic and warped. The good karma side starts with Guardian, then it goes to Champion, and finally Hero. The evil path is Thug, Outlaw, then Infamous, which Infamous is actually the name of the game, but it's the most evil part of the karma gauge. It seems a little strange to me since most people would choose the hero path, but it's still a cool name for a game, so I get it. You are presented with multiple karma choices throughout the game. In my opinion, there could have been way more, and some of the evil choices you can make genuinely make the player feel horrible. The developers did a fantastic job of making the player feel evil when choosing the bad path.
I can either fry him and open the door that way, or tell him that his wife is dead.
I'll kill you.
However, I don't know if it's the voice actor for Cole, which I like by the way, he's a good voice actor, but even when you become the highest level of good you can, a hero, it doesn't feel like you're a hero. Cole sounds annoyed, even when he's making the right decisions. He never really seems like he wants to help anybody.
I'm starting to think none of this is my problem. Maybe I should just let those two slug it out and then swoop in and nab the sphere when the dust settles.
Just doesn't care. It makes it feel like he is a normal person who got superpowers in this horrible world, which is way more realistic, I get it, but when Cole is evil, he genuinely feels like a horrible guy. The voice actor does a fantastic job of making him sound so sadistic and gross. Like, he likes being bad, which is good for the evil karma, but it's bad for the good karma. The people of Empire City also react to the karma level you are at. If you're a hero, they'll actually help you fight the bad guys. They'll gang up on them and just throw and pelt rocks at them, and they're pretty damn strong. They'll cheer you on in the streets and even hit on you. Now, if you're infamous, they'll do the opposite. They'll pelt those same rocks at you instead. You'll hear them comment on you before they start fighting you. They say things like, "Let's get him," or "We can all work together," or they just comment on how they can take you down.
He doesn't deserve to live!
The cutscenes in this game also change depending on the decisions you make. Now, this amazed me when I was younger. I don't know why my expectations were so low for a video game, but I thought every cutscene would be exactly the same regardless of your choices. And to my surprise, it's actually consistent with the choices you make. Who would have thought? This made me want to beat the game on both the hero and infamous side just to see what the differences were. This is what made the game so incredible to me at the time. There were two completely different paths you could take, two different choices you can make at multiple points in the game, two different powers, two different appearances, reactions, view, characters. It just overwhelmed me with discovery. One of the most impactful karmic decisions is towards the end of the game, so it's getting a little bit into spoilers. When Cole finally finds the ray sphere and Moya's husband John, you have the choice of destroying it or activating it again. Both choices result in killing the man that you found, John, unfortunately, and if you decide to destroy it, nothing really happens. It's destroyed. But if you decide to activate it, it will actually make you more powerful. However, this will make you at max evil karma level regardless if you're at a hero or not when you make the decision. Meaning, if you are a hero, it will change you to infamous right after that mission. It also has this fucking dope look to it. It puts this like black highlight in the middle of the red lightning, which looks super comic booky to me. It's amazing. I love the look of this, man. I just wish it gave your good blue lightning an awesome look to it as well if you choose to destroy it and make the good karma choice. Activating it also increases the amount of energy you can use, like finding a whole bunch of extra blast shards, which we'll get to later. This was the only choice in the game that changes something significant about your powers and Cole, which I get. The game was building up to you finding the ray sphere this entire time. Now, I will say something so stupid and honest about the karma system when I first played it. I had no fucking clue you could be bad. I assumed the game wanted me to make the right decisions. I thought I was supposed to be good, that the game would somehow end or punish me if I choose the bad ending. So I beat the entire game on the good side, and I put it down. I didn't even read the back of the damn game case. I didn't pay attention to the evil XP karma levels in the power section of the game, and I just didn't put two and two together. After I beat it the first time, I opened up the game case. I saw Cole McGrath hanging off the side of the building with red lightning on his arm. I thought it was like a secret thing in the game, so I asked my uncle, how do I unlock the red lightning? He said, oh, you just gotta make the evil choices in the game and like kill random civilians. Fucking excuse me? You're telling me I didn't have to make the good choices? You can actually make the wrong choices in the game? What happens? Can you still beat the game? I was filled with so many questions. I immediately started a new game and chose the bad karma side. I don't know why I was so oblivious to this. I just never thought a game would let you make the evil choices, let alone a superhero game. This made me fall in love with inFAMOUS even more. The freedom and ability to make the choice you want to make, whether that's for the greater good or for yourself, that fascinated me. You can use your powers to help everyone or destroy everything in sight. To be fair, it says that on the back of the damn game case if I just read it. You can also complete missions in your very own way, whether you want to make sure you save as many people as possible or kill everyone in sight. It truly is your choice on how you want to approach the gameplay in this world. The gameplay is okay. Man, as a kid, this was the coolest shit I've ever seen, and using superpowers and electrocuting enemies, gliding through the air while shooting a force field at an enemy was pure satisfaction, just like the parkour system. Parkour was at its peak around this time. I played Assassin's Creed before this, but inFAMOUS just feels way more fast-paced and way more unrealistic, which is way more fun to use in my opinion. I will admit some of it can be not fun. There are only specific things you can grab onto, and it works most of the time, but the times that it doesn't work can cost you. Traversal is very basic in this game. Cole explains that he can't ride in a car because it will explode if he sits in it, which again makes a lot of sense, and you can't swim because, you know, electricity plus water, it doesn't really work. You might as well get a person to hold a toaster and jump into a bathtub. So you can either parkour or do the super cool grind on power lines and train tracks. This is the best way to get around. It's also the fastest. If you're going fast enough, you can jump off the rail you're grinding on and fly forward to either jump on another power line or just get launched forward. Other than those two options, you can't get around any other way besides running. There is no fast travel system in the game. The map is very small, so fast travel wouldn't make a lot of sense, but sometimes you have to go all the way across the map and it can take some time. Seems like a lot of time wasted by holding forward or mashing X. Traversal is also used to collect something called blast shards. Blast shards are used to increase the max energy you have to use for powers. It's in the top left corner. However, as you increase your energy, you also have to collect more blast shards. It starts off with only collecting 10 to increase your energy, and then it can go to 35 and 40. That's a shit ton. That's a lot of blast shards. But collecting blast shards to increase your energy is awesome for using your fighting abilities. Fighting with your powers is one of the best parts of the game, especially when you can pull off awesome tricks and combos. If you get damaged by an enemy while fighting, you can heal yourself by absorbing electricity, or you can just hide behind something until you're better. Mixing and matching the powers truly makes this game unique. However, a lot of the game just feels unpolished and unfinished. I don't know if they just needed more time to make this game, or if it was just a product of its time. It was a newer next-gen game. It was the first PS3 game Sucker Punch put out, and there are so many glitches in the game. I even had the game do like a mini crash on me once. The glitches and bugs aren't horrible, but it did affect the vision that I originally had for inFAMOUS in my head. The worst bug I came across made me restart an entire mission. In this mission, you have to destroy these gigantic turrets that were trying to shoot your partner, John, out of the sky. You have to use a lightning storm to destroy it. Nothing else will work. So I tried using it, and it would not work. It did just fine on the other turrets, and I tried over and over and over. Nothing helped. It's like there was this invisible force field around the thing. It shot John right out of the sky, and I had to do the mission all over again. The next time I tried it, it worked perfectly fine. No problems at all. I don't understand what happened. I even fell through the entire map a couple of times. A couple of times, not just once. The performance and pop-in for this game, even running natively on a PS3, was horrible. The frame rate feels like it dips into the single digits at times. The pop-in is super noticeable, especially when you're going super fast on power lines. It's very distracting and frustrating at times. Kind of like the melee combat. The melee combat is just not fun to use. I try not to use it. I didn't even upgrade the melee at all through both playthroughs of the game. Every time you go near an enemy to use melee, they just keep stepping away as you're in the middle of a fighting animation. So they will continuously move away and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Most of the time you can get killed this way. So fighting with your hands is basically out. It's like the developers want you to use the long range powers, which is perfectly fine. The actual powers you use is the highlight of the game. But personally, I like to mix it up. I like to use a bit of long range fighting and close range melee fighting. This game just appears it wasn't built for that. This game was built for the open world genre, and you can't have an open world without side missions. Completing side missions gives you a small amount of XP and also clears a certain area of the city to where enemies will not return there, which is lame in my opinion. If you complete every single side mission and make sure enemies never return there, you won't have any enemies to fight, rendering the most fun part of the game useless. So I tried not to complete some of the side missions on purpose to keep the enemies spawning. I wish there was a way to turn that off. The first type of side mission is so very basic. Someone tells you that there are some enemies over here, or to destroy some stuff on a building, or find this hidden package of blast shards. Some of the basic side missions do give you more of a karmic choice though. The more interesting side missions to me are the good and evil side missions. The good side missions have you in contact with the warden of the jail. He basically asks you to protect the protesters in the street, escort prisoners to jail, and help the police fight enemies. The evil side missions follow Sasha, one of the main bosses, as a contact. Sasha informs you to kill the police, execute rival gangs, and kill any protester in sight. As a bonus, she also tells her followers, the Reapers, to help you out. So it makes it more interesting that one of the enemies you fought at the beginning of the game now helped you in side missions. Completing these karma missions also boosts the karma level you are at, depending on the good or evil mission you have done. There's not a lot to do here in the side missions though. The best thing about them is either giving you blast shards or XP to upgrade your powers. Not a whole lot of fun because they all feel very samey. I just wish it didn't eliminate the most fun part of the game, using your powers to kill enemies. If you complete a side mission to get XP, to upgrade a power, but then you can barely use that same power because enemies are no longer there, it renders the side mission useless. I get why the devs made it to where it gets rid of the enemies in that area. It makes it feel like you're cleaning up the city, or if you're evil, you're gaining more control over it. I just see a huge contradiction in it. Otherwise, this is just the most basic definition of a side mission in an open world game. However, the different powers you use make up for the gameplay loop in those missions. I love superpowers, especially in this game. The devs were so creative on how you use electricity as a unique ability. They could have just given Cole shooty lightning bolt powers in melee combat, but no, they went all out. First off, you have this gauge in the top left corner of the screen, like I mentioned earlier, next to your karmic meter. This shows you how much electricity you have to use. Once you run out of it, you'll have to recharge it by finding an electricity source. These rechargeable sources are found all throughout the city. You can also shoot the hell out of something that has electricity to recharge it and get even more juice out of it. However, this doesn't work in the areas of the city that have no power. Most of your abilities drain your electricity gauge. Fortunately, the most basic and used power, the lightning bolt, uses no electricity, so you can use that as much as you want to. And in a way, it does feel OP and it doesn't really make any sense. Cole is still using electricity to shoot this bolt, even when he's out. They did change this in the sequel though to where it does use a little electricity, and as a kid I hated that they changed this in the sequel, but now it does make more sense to me to do it that way, and it offers more of a challenge. Melee also does not use any electricity. Now for the other fun powers. The use and upgrades of these powers depends on your karmic level. The hero side has different effects on the abilities than the inFAMOUS side. The hero side of the abilities is more precise and safe to use to account for the civilians around you. When you're fighting some bad guys, you want to make sure you don't hurt any civilians or it will decrease your karmic level. To account for this, the hero powers allow you to upgrade them to avoid major destruction, whereas the opposite side of the karmic level, inFAMOUS, is just used for that reason, chaos. Most of the upgraded abilities are used for maximum destruction. If you're evil, you could care less about the people around you. In fact, the more people you kill or hurt gets you towards that goal of becoming inFAMOUS. To upgrade these abilities, you have to obtain XP. To obtain XP, you have to complete main missions, side missions, killing enemies, doing power tricks, healing civilians, basically doing anything. The powers you have and can obtain by turning on the power throughout the city are Shockwave, Shock Grenade, Megawatt Hammer, Thunder Drop, Polarity Wall, Precision, and finally the most OP, Lightning Storm. There are also other powers like Overload Burst and Arc Lightning. You can obtain these by completing good and evil side missions. However, if you're good, you can't use Arc Lightning, and the same goes for being evil with Overload Burst. The game locks out the good side mission if you do an evil one, and vice versa. These abilities are excluded from XP and can only be upgraded by completing a certain amount of karmic side missions. You can also upgrade abilities like Melee, Electric Drain, and Reduce Damage. The last ability, Gigawatt Blades, can only be obtained from the PlayStation 3 store. I didn't have internet as a kid, so I didn't get to download these when I was little. Now don't worry, you don't have to pay for these. They are completely free. However, when the PlayStation 3 store shuts down, you won't be able to download them. I'm not sure why these weren't included in the base game. I guess they realized melee is a little too boring and kind of janky and not fun to use, so they developed this power and threw it in the game later. And I love them. I think it's a great addition. I love the slow-mo that kicks in right after you strike someone with it. Nothing really happens to these once you upgrade them, they just cause more damage. But now back to the powers that are actually in the base game. You have to be a certain karmic level to upgrade most of the powers you have. For example, you have to be at the karmic level hero to get the last and most powerful upgrade of that ability. And of course, this locks out the evil side, which means you can't upgrade or obtain the evil power-up if you're at a good karma level. You can switch to that evil level, but again, you just need to have a lot of XP. I really wish there was some in-game content that allowed you to have both sides of the karma level powers. That would have been incredibly fun to use right after you beat the game. First, we have the Lightning Bolt, the first power you can use in the game. This costs the most amount of XP to upgrade and has the best advantages for the karma path you choose. The hero path starts with Guardian, restoring a small amount of energy with each hit on an enemy, and it evolves to Champion, causing headshots to chain electricity to nearby enemies and objects. Hero restores more energy with each hit, and headshots now heal you, and the evil side is a little more interesting. The first upgrade, Thug, has a chance of causing an enemy to explode before dying, which damages anything around them, including other enemies or civilians. The second upgrade, Outlaw, increases the radius of the explosion, extending it out. Then we have the most powerful shot with infamous rank. Every single headshot causes the enemy to explode. No more chances of an explosion. It's every single headshot. I saved up all of my XP for this one. If you get a headshot, it kills the enemy instantly and sends anyone around them flying, including exploding cars or anything else around them. This combined with precision, if you're a good shot, is just OP-ville. It feels so damn satisfying to use. Next up is Shockwave. This sends a wave of shock, forward lifting anything and anyone off the ground into the air. It's also useful for sending missiles and grenades back at enemies. The hero Shockwave makes enemies float in the air, and you can also upgrade to increase the blast force and range of the wave. The infamous side electrifies everything in its path, and with the final upgrade, it can make cars explode when you launch them. The shock grenade is exactly what it sounds like. It's a grenade. However, it's like the plasma grenade from Halo. It can stick to any person. It's so damn satisfying. This little animation the enemies make when it gets stuck to them is fucking hilarious. Upgrading the hero grenade increases the damage and automatically restrains the enemies if they are weakened, which is an awesome addition because it can increase your good karma with every time you use that grenade. Upgrading the evil grenade just causes it to produce grenadelets for maximum destruction. The higher the upgrade, the higher the grenadelets. If you throw a shit ton of these out, it just explodes everything in the area. The Megawatt Hammer is basically an electric rocket that explodes on impact. It has one of the most fun upgrades for the hero side. Once upgraded, you can shoot the rocket anywhere in the sky or anywhere around. You can shoot a lightning bolt at an enemy or an object, and it will redirect to that location you just shot at and go full fucking speed. I use this all of the time during my hero run, and you can pull off some pretty fun trick shots with it. Now the evil side is just a copy and paste of the grenadelets. It adds smaller rockets and increases the tiny rockets based on how much you upgrade it. Again, it's used for maximum destruction, but the devs could have been a little more creative with this one in my opinion. They could have just made it to where the evil rocket automatically restrains civilians instead of enemies, and maybe does a mini bio leech of the enemies to give you more power, and that way it would increase your bad karma. I didn't really use this rocket that much on my evil run. The Thunder Drop is one of my favorite and most satisfying abilities to use. Once you're on top of a building, or just high up in general, you can leap off into the air, press square, and it starts charging up to release a blast on the ground, causing a shockwave. Upgrading this increases the blast force and electrifies objects on the ground. There are no good or evil upgrade paths for this though, which was a missed opportunity. I was so afraid to use this during my hero run because I felt like I would just kill or harm so many civilians on the ground. It felt reckless, but you can cancel out of the Thunder Drop, thank God. I wish they made a hero upgrade path to where it only shocks enemies and blasts them away, and it would not cause any harm to the civilians. I never even upgraded it that much on my hero side, but now I use this every chance I got during the evil path. I just didn't care because, again, it would just boost my bad karma if I killed any civilians. It just benefited my evil karma every time I used it. I remember going to the highest point of the map when I was little and using the most powerful Thunder Drop on the ground. I would just climb all the way back up and do it again. Polarity Wall is basically an electric riot shield. You get this towards the end of the game, and it's so very useful if there are a lot of sentry guns or a lot of enemies around. Upgrading the polarity wall increases the size of it and can also absorb bullets to replenish your electric energy. Precision is just a sniper mode. It slows down time and can be used for awesome headshots or taking out multiple enemies at once. I'll group the basic stuff together since there isn't much to them. Upgrading the reduced damage reduces damage. Upgrading melee increases damage to melee. Electric drain increases the speed of the drain. Upgrading drain further replenishes your energy when you grind on rails and power lines. And the final upgrade for drain allows you to press left on the D-pad to have unlimited energy for a small amount of time, only if you're at a max karmic level. You also have 3 basic abilities that cannot be upgraded, which is Pulse Heal, allowing you to heal civilians or cops, Arc Restraint, which restrains anyone to the ground including enemies, civilians, and cops, and last up is Bile Leech. This one should only be used for evil. However, you can use it if you're good. It will just decrease your good karma. This ability allows you to leech off an enemy or civilian, absorbing all of their power to restore yours, killing them in the process. It's really horrific and gruesome, and sometimes they'll even kick their feet and it makes this evil sucking sound. It's kind of obvious why this is evil and decreases your good karma. And finally, we have the last ability you can obtain in the game, the Lightning Storm. Truly a jaw-dropping moment for me the first time I played the game. By pressing down on the D-pad, you can call a fucking lightning strike from the sky, moving forward, one-shotting everything in its path and causing almost everything to explode. If you have an official PS3 6-axis controller, which is just a controller that has a gyroscope in it, you can tilt the controller to change the path of the lightning strike. You can tell this was just added in as an early gimmick for the Genesis days of the PS3. This uses the most amount of energy, of course, and also obvious, you cannot use this underground. That's the first thing the game actually tells you when you get it, since you're in the sewer when you obtain this power. This game has this amazing and fun mission once you obtain the Lightning Storm. To turn on the power to the last section of the city, you have to stand on top of this generator, granting you unlimited energy. You can use this Lightning Storm as much as you want without any consequences. You won't run out of energy. This mission sends waves and waves of enemies at you, and you realize how crazy and powerful you feel with how fun this power is. If you haven't caught on yet, again, this power, like almost every other power you have, is so much damn fun to use in the game. The abilities you have truly are some of the most amazing and entertaining parts of Infamous. Even in the end game, there's so much to upgrade and see what your maximum potential can be depending on your karmic choice. It really feels like the devs just brainstormed and came up with the coolest ways to use electricity as a superpower. Everything used feels so creative and unlike other video games. I don't know many superhero games that involve a brand new character never seen before, a character in a story that was made up specifically for that video game. I love the idea of recharging coal like a battery and the different advantages the karma level has on the powers. Just a super fun way to play a video game. The way that you can mix and match these powers are so unique and adds so much variety to the game. It makes every fight feel fun and different, including the boss fights, which you can just throw everything you got at them. Speaking of bosses and enemies, there are only 3 real bosses and various types of enemies in this game. They represent each section of the city you get to explore. We have Sasha, the extremely horny and crazy chick who is in charge of the Reapers. She represents the Neon District of the map. She can spit this black goo that turn normal people into these horrible minions that throw up this disgusting goo and try to kill you. Oh, she also has this fucking nasty tentacle coming out of her mouth. God. Oh, she's nasty. She is obsessed with and in love with Cole. She keeps confusing Cole with another villain, Kessler.
Why, Kessler? Why do you love her? I'll kill her! I swear it! I'll wear her skin like a robe!
She's gone insane at this point, so she doesn't seem all there. And when you're evil, every evil side mission is associated with her. She tells you what to do, where to go, and who to kill, while also being super horny again. Oh god, I can't imagine. Fuck. The Reapers are the first type of enemy in the game and are the weakest. Nothing is really special about them. Most Reapers have standard guns, some have rocket launchers, and a few have riot shields to use. This mainly applies to all of the enemies in the game. However, each enemy group has a more powerful type of mini-boss, called a conduit. The Reaper conduit can teleport and send a wave of explosions towards you, and of course, they are harder to take down. We then have Alden, an old man who has telekinesis and wants revenge on everyone and everything. He represents the Warren District. The Warren District is this really worn down place. Apparently, Cole mentions that it wasn't really that nice before the blast, so it's completely covered in trash. Alden is in charge of the Dustmen. The Dustmen use trash and scrap metal for armor. I also love the little detail of trash falling off them every single time they get hit. And some of the Dustmen have suicide bombers that come out of alleyways, but you can hear them screaming from a mile away.
Dumbass! Dumbass!
The Dustmen have two types of conduits. One has the power to shoot out these little annoying bastards that look like little crabs. He also carries a rocket launcher, and the other conduit is a golem looking thing that has a person inside of it, and it takes so damn long to kill. You have to shoot off one arm, then the other arm, then one leg, then the other leg, and sometimes this still doesn't work. You still have to keep doing that over and over and just kind of keep sending rockets at the damn thing. Alden grew up as a homeless kid. It's pretty damn sad. When he was younger, he was supposed to be in charge of the First Sons, that group that I mentioned earlier that created the race sphere, but someone else came in and took over his entire family operation, taking his place instead, and which leads us to the main villain, Kessler. He represents the Historic District, which is actually a nicer district that you start off with in the beginning of the game. Remember where that crater is? He's the one that took over the First Sons and is their leader. The First Sons are the most powerful type of enemy in the game. They are much harder to take down, and you get more XP every time you do take them down. They're a lot stronger. They have two types of conduits, one being an aura conduit. This guy basically just makes himself bigger and stomps around. He's probably one of the easiest conduits to kill. You just shoot him a bunch in the middle and he's out. The second conduit can make himself invisible and shoot a shotgun point blank at your face. And the problem is you can't really see them coming sometimes, and they just pop up. Sometimes you can see invisible enemies in video games. You can kind of see the force field around them, but these guys, most of the time, they just come out of nowhere. You cannot see them coming. Kessler has a very vague power. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what it is. He can make people see into the past, shoot beams of light, throw grenades, send a shockwave, and create illusions of himself that can damage you. Kessler just kind of shows up out of nowhere and talks to Cole in this very weird, almost sentimental kind of way. Like he knows Cole, and he isn't trying to kill him. He doesn't want revenge, he doesn't want power, he wants to teach Cole a lesson, no matter how harsh or horrible it is. We're going to be getting into heavy spoiler territory at this point. Kessler does some pretty messed up stuff. More specifically, the special people in Cole's life. The only remaining part of Cole's life that he still cares about, and the thing that still feels normal in this destroyed world. Towards the end of the game, you finally find John, and when you find him, he informs you that he has no idea who Moya is. Remember that woman at the beginning of the game who told you to find her husband? Cole realizes that he's getting played and Moya was just using him to find John because she works for the government and they needed him because he basically developed superhumans and a nuclear bomb at the same time. So there goes Cole's only way of getting out of the city. But John tells Cole that he still needs to find the race sphere because it's incredibly dangerous and he just wants to completely destroy it. He just wants to get rid of it, that way no one can use it for anything else ever again. When Cole finally gets to Alden, who has the race sphere in his possession, Zeke tags along with Cole to give him some backup. Kessler shows up at the last second to piss Alden off even more. Zeke is able to grab the race sphere from Alden while he's distracted yelling at Kessler. Cole keeps telling Zeke that it's time to go, but Zeke is just standing there, staring at the race sphere. He realizes that he can have everything that Cole has. Since the beginning, Zeke has been trying to make a difference or be helpful by going along with Cole or assisting the cops, which leads to multiple cops dying because of Zeke's powerful urge to be a hero. Zeke realizes that if he activates the race sphere, he can have superpowers, like Cole. He can have everything he's ever wanted this whole time, to be a hero and have so much power, to not be in Cole's shadow. He tries to activate the sphere, knowing it will kill thousands of people, just like at the beginning of the game. He makes the decision that some people would make to have power, but nothing happens. No explosions, no deaths, nothing. Kessler takes this opportunity to offer Zeke powers if he comes with him, to leave Cole and abandon his best friend, his brother. And of course, Zeke leaves with Kessler. Just what a super fucked up thing to do to your best friend, just for the selfishness of having power. Soon after this, Cole is hit with a double whammy. Kessler informs Cole that he is testing him. He sets up bombs all over the historic district and tells Cole to hurry up and deactivate the bombs or innocent people will die. After Cole deactivates the bombs, Kessler gives Cole his final request. He tells Cole that he has his girlfriend, the love of his life, hanging from one building. From the other building, 6 doctors. Bombs are rigged to explode and you can only save one or the others. And it's obvious that the good karma decision is to save the doctors, and the evil decision is to save Trish. Now again, playing this at 12 years old gave me so much anxiety. I'd been playing this game for a while now, and grew close to these characters. I loved Cole, Trish, and Zeke, even if Trish was barely in the game and got no character development. So since I was at a good karma level, I knew I couldn't save Trish. But I so desperately wanted to. I was hoping that Kessler just tied Trish up with the doctors and I could save them all. So imagine the shock that I went through when I saved the doctors and this happened.
Trish!
Time slowed down as Trish fell. All my powers, and I couldn't do a thing. For a second, she sprung to life, just long enough to say that she was proud of me for what I'd become. proud that I was helping people with my powers, and that she loved me for it. I buried her in the park alongside others who died since the blast.
God damn. I was heartbroken. It gave me so much more motivation to complete the game and kill Kessler. It also intrigued me to see what would happen if I did save Trish. So look at this bullshit. If you're evil and you go to save Trish, this happens instead.
For a second, she sprung to life, just long enough to say that she was ashamed of what I'd become. That God had given me these powers and I'd squandered them, hurting others and thinking only of myself. I buried her in the park alongside others who died since the blast.
This is even worse, man. This is what I'm talking about when I say the game makes you genuinely feel horrible for choosing the evil side. Trish either says she's proud of you for being a hero, or she says she hates your fucking guts and then immediately dies. Imagine the last words from the love of your life as she is dying in your arms is that she is so disappointed in you, hates you, and that you're a piece of shit. That right there made me want to quit the game and start the hero side again. Anyways, no matter what you choose, Kessler kills Trish. Cole lost his best friend, the love of his life, and has been lied to by the only person that could get him out of this hellhole of a city. And right after all of this tragedy, he gets his most powerful power, goes after the Ray Sphere, and finally gets to face Kessler. This is where the major spoilers of the game come in. The final fight is with Kessler himself. I played the game on the hardest difficulty, and he was pretty difficult to beat. I died 3 or 4 times to finally beat this guy, and being that at the time I was 13 when I beat this game for the first time, the ending completely and utterly blew my fucking brain to pieces, man. When you get Kessler's health bar to 0, he falls to the ground and whispers,
Trish, I love you. Please forgive me.
Now he keeps mentioning Trish as a special woman all throughout the game. He keeps saying that she's like a special lady or a special person as Trish, all these other different things, and as a young boy, I just assumed that Kessler was Trish's dad given his age. He leaps towards Cole, grabs his head, and shows him this.
As Kessler's secrets played out in my head, I finally began to understand. I saw his nemesis, a beast intent on extinguishing all life. In those early days, Kessler could have used his powers to stop it, but instead he fled with his family, leaving others to fend for themselves. Hunted for years, Kessler and his family watched as the rest of the world went to hell. And then it was too late. Too late to fight, too late to save anyone. In that moment of failure and grief, he used his newest and most dangerous power. He went on a one-way trip back in time, attempting to rewrite history. Kessler seized control of the First Sons and accelerated the Ray Sphere's development. Decades spent plotting the blast, organizing the quarantine, finding me. Yet the thing that drove him forward, Kessler's sole link to the past, was a picture from his wedding day, when he married Trish, with Zeke as his best man.
The whole time I was fighting this guy, since the beginning of the game, the guy that has been the main villain of the story, the voice heard at the very beginning, the man who killed the love of Cole's life, this man was actually Cole himself.
Wow.
Saying that out loud, it sounds so damn cheesy and predictable, but I had not experienced this in a video game or a movie before, and I was still pretty young, so I was oblivious to almost everything. I still remember seeing this cutscene of the game, and my jaw hit the floor. I think I pressed the PlayStation button on the controller before the cutscene even finished, and just had to process what I had just witnessed. I was playing this game for months at this point. I had put in maybe 30 hours into it, and I was fighting myself the entire time and didn't even know it. The build-up was some of the best build-up in a video game I've ever had. Future Cole had killed the woman he loved, the mother of his children. to teach Cole a lesson about not holding back, to save the world at any cost. This was just such a powerful ending to me. Again, when I was little at the time, this ending was an absolute masterpiece. I remember just being so excited and impatient to play the sequel to this game. They obviously set one up at the end, and I'm not gonna lie, I still get goosebumps when Cole says the day that he married Trish with Zeke as his best man. Just the way that line is delivered is so impactful and so emotional. I watched this ending cutscene on YouTube so many times after I beat the game. Now, as I have completed this game as a full-grown adult and witnessed the ending of it for the first time in about 10 years or so, it's okay. It's predictable. And Zeke just kind of shows up after betraying you and gets tossed like 100 feet away. He should be so fucking dead, but he comes up in the ending cutscene and he's just standing there. You get the idea that he feels bad and his relationship with Cole will continue in the sequel, but I don't know, he just kind of shows up and he's there. Then it's the end. Besides the Kessler reveal, the ending didn't really come together quite that well in my opinion. It drops that huge bomb of a reveal, and Cole just says he'll be ready for the next big bad guy when he comes. It doesn't mention Moya again, it doesn't confirm if Alden is dead or not, it does not elaborate on what happens to Sasha. It falls kind of flat. But it is trying to set up that next entire game. Does it actually explain what happens to those characters in the next game? We'll have to see it in the next video. Spoiler alert, I think it's not. I don't think they mention them at all. I think they just kind of drop everything. I just wish it kind of expanded on Zeke and how bad he feels or how Cole is just pissed at him. It just feels like it ends out of nowhere. Once you beat the game, it gives you this little message about how you can explore the city, collect blast shards, complete side missions, or complete the opposite side of the Karma story. The in-game content is very open-worldy, meaning just basic side missions and collecting, not much else. The only motivation I had for completing everything was to upgrade my powers all the way to see what they can do, but that motivation disappears very quickly once you realize there aren't much enemies around anymore by completing the side missions. It just makes me want to jump right into the second game. But how did I feel about the first entry in the Infamous series all of these years later? The game that I was absolutely obsessed with as a preteen and could not stop playing. The reason I bought a PlayStation 3 just to play these games. That I had already played and beaten multiple times on a different console at my uncle's house. Well, man, what a game this is. Even after not playing it for more than 10 years, I still had a fucking blast replaying it. I was so terrified of ruining this game for my inner child when I replayed it as an adult. I've been going back and replaying some games that I loved as a kid, and some are still fun, some are legitimately heartbreaking. You remember having so much fun and spending countless hours playing this specific game that you're obsessed with and you love so damn much. Then you replay it years later and realize the game fucking sucks and you can't even play it for more than an hour. But Infamous, man, I could not stop playing it now. Even as a 26-year-old, I could not put this game down. A game that I've already beaten multiple times when I was younger. It was just as good as I remember, if not more fun. I'm glad I replayed this masterpiece of a game. I started the evil karma path right after I beat the good karma path of the game. That hasn't happened in so very long. I can't remember the last time I started a new game right after I just beat it. My brain can't handle doing the same thing or playing the same game over and over and over, but Infamous is just different to me. It just clicks. I can't stop having fun when I play this game. I cannot wait to beat, play, and make a video about Infamous 2. I even debated playing the sequel before making this video. I was just trying to come up with an excuse to play it, but I would have never got this video done. The lead up and excitement to Infamous 2 could be a video of itself. It's gonna take a while, just like this video did. I still genuinely love this game, if that wasn't clear before. It was the reason I bought a PS3 in the first place, and the same year the PS4 came out. It makes me wish Sony remastered or remade this game instead of The Last of Us, or the other remasters that they've done. But I get it. Any other Infamous fans, they're not going to want to hear this, but The Last of Us is infinitely more popular and it sold way more copies than Infamous did. The first Infamous only sold about 1.2 million copies, which isn't bad. Other reports say almost 2 million, but The Last of Us, only on the PS3, sold 6 million copies. That's not counting the remaster, the remake, or anything else. That's 6 times more than the first Infamous. The Last of Us franchise has sold over 30 million copies total. It's clear why Sony doesn't really care about remastering Infamous. But if any game needed or deserved a remake, it would be Infamous. Imagine The detail of the city from the power of the PS5, the ray tracing from the electric powers alone would be fucking beautiful. The pop-in would disappear, the animations would be incredible, they could even expand the size of the city and add in new mechanics or powers. The only way to play Infamous 1 and 2 is either through owning a PS3, streaming it on PS Plus, or emulating it. Streaming it is not the perfect way to play it, and PS3 emulation still has not become perfect yet, still has a lot to go. God of War 3 got remastered, The Last of Us got remastered twice. They put all of the Uncharted games on PS4 and PS5. I mean, come on. One of Sony's studios, Sucker Punch, who made hit games like Sly Cooper and Ghost of Tsushima, can't even get a remastered game to run on PS4 or PS5 natively? Just seems like a slap in the face to Infamous fans. I would give absolutely anything to have a remastered or remade version of Infamous. I would even be okay if they just ported the original game to PS4 or PS5 like the other games I mentioned, just so other people could have easier access to it. I'll take anything at this point. This game really means so much more to me than you guys think. I was going through a really hard time in my life when I played it as a kid. Infamous just made me feel like nothing was wrong in the world, and it distracted me for a little bit. The best memories I have with video games are from Infamous. It made me feel like I had the freedom to use superpowers in my own way. I usually would choose the hero path, because I just wanted to do some good. I would just roam around the city, helping as many people as I could, healing as many people as I could, and just defeating bad guys. It made me feel powerful. Basically, the point to this video is, fuck, I still love it. There are very few games throughout my life that I was more than excited to play. What I mean by that is picture the best Christmas you've ever had. Really think back to that feeling. Going to sleep the previous night, barely able to sleep for the amount of excitement and good anxiety you had. You wake up and you're not even tired. It's 6 a.m. and you jump out of your bed like you just took a shot of an espresso. The amount of happiness you feel is unfathomable. That's the type of excitement I'm talking about. These games that gave me that feeling was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Spider-Man 2, my PS5 on launch day, Breath of the Wild, and Infamous 2. I was obsessed with Infamous 1. I beat the hell out of it over and over again. Since the first game ended on a major cliffhanger, I had to know what happens next. At the time, I didn't have access to the internet. I went to GameStop once every few months, maybe. I was cut off from any and all news about upcoming video games. I tried to watch E3 every year, but most of the time, my other 5 siblings were watching TV, and I wasn't able to tune in, so I had to play the waiting game and just dream about the sequel. Then, one day, I got off the bus from school and checked the mailbox like I always do. That one day, there was a package for me, and that never happened. I pulled the package out slowly to reveal the best surprise I've ever gotten in my life. I'm so sorry, kids. The last time I went into GameStop, I forgot I signed up for a pro membership. And do you know what came with pro memberships at the time? A Game Informer magazine subscription. And that special day was the delivery of the Infamous 2 cover of Game Informer. The first time I even got to know they were doing a sequel at all was when I looked at that magazine. Cole looks completely different. Who are these guys behind him? Where is he? Cole has hair now? I ran inside to read the entire article section about Infamous 2. This is where the hype started. This was the news I waited so long to see. My favorite game was getting a sequel. I was able to see actual screenshots of the new game. This game was actually real. It was finally coming. I was going to be able to see what happens next. I was going to finally play it.
No matter what the cost.
Infamous 2 was first shown at E3 2010, and people were hyped to see the first trailer of this game, and the trailer for the sequel came out a year after Infamous 1 released? What the fuck? Oh my god, can you imagine if that happened now? People saw the trailer and said, "Yes, let's go! Infamous 2!" Wait, everybody shut up, shut up. Wait a minute. Who the hell is that?
Why is he like that?
Yeah, this was a classic case of changing the entire design of the main character when everyone is already used to and attached to the previous version. Fans were not happy about this at all. I even went online and found a few forums and posts about people complaining about this back then, and I understand why. This doesn't look anything like the previous Cole we had in Infamous 1. I could understand that the blast singed all of Cole's hair off, but even then, Cole didn't have hair before the blast. But come on, man. Look at his face. This same exact version of Cole even looks different in 3 separate pictures. This was all supposed to be the same redesign. They also recasted the voice actor for Cole. Jason Caudle was swapped for Eric Layden. Now, the recast isn't too bad. I still prefer Jason Caudle's voice for Cole, only because I was used to it.
While sliding into unconsciousness, I could somehow, I don't know, hear the voices of the dying.
5 square blocks, smashed into rubble. And at the center was me.
There was one problem with Jason Caudle's voice, and I did mention this in my Infamous 1 video, and it's the fact that his voice sounds evil no matter which path you choose. He always sounded annoyed, selfish, and mean. Eric Layden does do a better job of sounding more sincere and heroic, sometimes, but we'll get to that later. Now, the only reason I could find for the recast is that apparently Jason Caudle didn't want to do the mocap for the sequel. He recorded all of his lines in a booth the first time, and Sucker Punch wanted to do real motion capture cutscenes for Infamous 2, so they had to replace him. I'm sure there's probably other reasons, but that's all I could find. Actually, it looks like another reason is that some people thought Cole sounded less heroic in the first game, so I guess I was right. At least the recast isn't as bad as making Cole look like a lead singer from an alternative band in the early 2000s. But not to fear, Sucker Punch actually listened to the fans and changed Cole's appearance to look more like he did in the first game. This was extremely awesome of Sucker Punch to do. Most game companies don't do that nowadays. Just from the trailer, it looked like Sucker Punch got through a good chunk of the game with that previous model, which means after the negative reaction, they changed the model to look more appealing to fans, and they had to rework most, if not all, of the cutscenes they already worked on in the game. That's not even including the game animations, so they probably had to rework some fighting animations, power animations. There's no telling how much they reworked just to appease the fans. So props to you, Sucker Punch, y'all are awesome. And to be honest, this was the right move. I don't think Infamous 2 would have been as well received as it was if they stuck with that previous model. I mean, if you want proof of that, people are still modding the old version of Peter Parker into Spider-Man 2. I am absolutely not getting into that right now. Look, I don't care either way. I'm not talking about it. I'm just saying changing it was the right move. But let's move on from the lead singer of Electric Possum. Other than the new look they gave Cole, fans were excited to see how the sequel was different from the original game. The trailer teased new melee combat with a strange weapon, different ways of traversal, new powers, and actual in-game cutscenes. Sucker Punch themselves said that Infamous 1 was more of a tech demo, a way to learn how to develop games on the PS3 with its
Super cool advanced cell processing.
This is incredibly apparent by just looking at any frame of Infamous 1 compared to Infamous 2. If Infamous 1 truly was a way to learn how the PS3 worked, Sucker Punch mastered it with Infamous 2. The amount of evolution that occurred between these two games within a 2-year gap is mind-boggling to say the least. Now, what exactly is different between the first and second game? How could it possibly be that different? What exactly evolved? Everything. A sequel is defined as
a published broadcast or recorded work that continues the story or develops the theme of an earlier one.
However, Sucker Punch went above and beyond with the term sequel. They brought Infamous 2 to another level, literally. Look at some sequels nowadays. No hate to any of these games, but just as an example, Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom, God of War to Ragnarok, Spider-Man to Spider-Man 2. These games improved on the mechanics and continued the story of the previous game, while also making them look a little bit better in some cases. And some of these games look identical to its predecessor, which is not a bad thing, not saying that. But Infamous 2 feels like a different generation. Improved character models, real-time in-engine cutscenes, and overhaul in the mechanics of powers, melee, traversal, brand new enemies, bosses, mission types, UI customization. My god, Sucker Punch fucking cooked. This game was more than just a sequel. If you were a fan of the first game, from the very beginning of Infamous 2, you can tell that so many things are improved within the first 5 minutes of the game, starting with the in-game cutscenes. In Infamous 1, besides the sick comic book slideshow, which was amazing, and not this shit, when characters talk to each other in-game, it always looked like this. But now, the characters actually move naturally. The developers used motion capture with actors on a set and everything. This was a huge upgrade, to say the least. Their faces looked normal when speaking, and they actually have facial expressions. You're able to connect and feel what the character is feeling 1000% more. The graphics even look better. The lighting looks way more realistic and brighter, the character models look more detailed, and especially Cole's model. Damn, is this a PS5 game? You can see his f***ing pores. For a game that came out in 2011, this looks fantastic. And need I remind you, Infamous 2 came out a year and a half after Infamous 1 released. With all of these improvements, it just seems impossible. I literally have no idea how they did it. On top of improving, well, everything, they had to continue the story and figure out how it was going to continue after this massive cliffhanger. An incredible and almost invincible beast is coming. How will Cole be able to save everyone if an older version of him that could fucking time travel couldn't? That's why I was so excited for this game in the first place, and just like everything else Sucker Punch did, they delivered on this as well. How does Cole defeat the Infamous 2 starts a few months after the events of Infamous 1. Cole has still been taking care of Empire City, or destroying it, depending on the karmic path you chose in the first game. That's right, if you played Infamous 1 and beat it on either karmic path, Infamous 2 recognizes the save and lets you continue with that karmic path from the very beginning. Meaning if you were Infamous in the first game, you start off the sequel with red lightning, and blue lightning if you continued your hero path. The pedestrians even make comments about you on the other side of the gate, depending on the karmic path you chose to continue.
Please don't kill us!
Hey, Electric Man, you
surrender.
rock.
He'll help us. Just watch.
God, I love the detail Sucker Punch put into this game. Cole is getting ready to leave Empire City with Zeke, an NSA agent, Lucy Quo, who has been studying the First Sons for a while. She knew Kessler and everything that's happened to Cole. She informs Cole that there is a man, Dr. Wolf, in New Marais that has more information on how Cole can get stronger and new powers. Since Dr. Wolf helped make the Ray Sphere, which is the device that gave Cole his powers, and worked directly with Kessler, he has more information on how Cole can get stronger and upgrade his powers. Right as Cole is about to leave, the Beast shows up. Ooh, look, this is the type of game that makes you fight the end boss at the beginning to show how strong you need to get. God, I love that! Of course, Cole loses the fight after giving the Beast everything he had, and it still wasn't enough. The Beast just puts himself back together and nukes the entirety of Empire City. The entire world that was from Infamous 1 is now dust. Cole then has to immediately travel to New Marais to meet Dr. Wolf since time is running out faster than they thought. Cole enters New Marais, a knockoff New Orleans, and is immediately met with the first type of enemy in Infamous 2. There are actually 3 types of enemies in this game. The first group that Cole encounters is a group called the Militia, which is honestly just a bunch of racist hicks that like to be in power. They pretend like they're enforcing the law and trying to do the right thing, but they're just assholes. They are led by a man called Joseph Bertrand, who has a horrible haircut. My God. He's got that Hawkeye haircut, dude. It's ugly, man. He talks like a Southern preacher or the lawyer from the B movie.
And history called upon them to stand against the enemy.
She believed it was man's divine right to benefit from the bounty of nature God.
That's not important, it's just funny. Bertrand thinks Cole is the demon of Empire City and tries to turn the entire town against Cole just because he has powers and is a conduit. On top of fighting the militia, there are also 2 more enemy types in this game, the swamp monsters and the ice soldiers. But you don't just have soldiers and monsters running around, there are also titans that take a very long time to beat, and goddamn are they frustrating. You couldn't have toned this down just a bit? Come on. Sucker Punch, this is annoying as hell. The militia are similar to the Reapers from the first game. They are easier to beat, and the strongest one just has a minigun. The swamp monsters are similar to the Dustmen. They are freaks and mutants. They don't have guns, they just run fast as hell, and the best way to take them down is to just melee them. Melee? I've been saying melee this whole time. The strongest of these guys are the Ravagers, Hive Lords, and Devourer, which can f***ing die in a ditch. God, he sucks! The third enemy type are the Ice Soldiers, which are similar to the First Sons. They are tough, hard to kill, and are both equipped with guns, shotguns, and ice lasers. The strongest of these guys are the Crushers and Titan. They also suck, and the Titan doesn't have any facial animations whatsoever for some reason. It's really strange. He just kind of makes this one face. His face is covered up most of the time by a layer of ice, but still. On top of that real quick, I think this game has some serious audio issues or something. Sucker Punch worked out a lot of the bugs, but it seems like they missed a few.
Yeah.
It's not just me, right? It seems like some noise should be coming out of these things. Okay, moving on. So once Cole finally gets past the militia, he has to find Dr. Wolf so that he can find out how to get upgraded. Upon meeting Wolf, Cole is introduced to a device called the RFI. ray field inhibitor, which is the opposite of the ray sphere, which gave Cole his powers, meaning
Takes them away.
Dr. Wolf informs Cole this is the only device that can defeat the beast. Dr. Wolf also tells Cole that the only thing that can power up him and the RFI are blast cores. Cole has to find and absorb blast cores to become strong enough to use the RFI and defeat the beast. Also, just a cool tidbit, Wolf had a whole bunch of blast shards collected and they just blew up at the beginning of the game, which is why they're scattered around the city again. Blast shards were used in Infamous 1 to upgrade Cole's electric meter so that he would have more energy. That's nothing special, I just like explanations to mechanics and collectibles in games. It's pretty cool. The goal of Infamous 2 is to collect enough blast cores to power the RFI so you can defeat the beast by taking his powers away. Besides superpowers, another very important part that is integral to Infamous is the karma system. The player chooses to be good or bad, to be a savior or destroyer, to be heroic or infamous. The heart and soul of Infamous is the karma system. Without it, it would just be another superhero game. The thing that makes Infamous special is the options it gives the player. The player gets to choose whether they want to be good or evil. The karma system is very similar to the one in the first game, but this time around, Sucker Punch created allies that personify the good and the bad. This is where Quo and Nix come in. We've already talked about Quo a little bit, but Cole meets Nix on a mission to retrieve a blast core. Nix already recognizes Cole and treats him like a celebrity. She even begs him to cause some chaos with her. These two characters also help you fight enemies. They use their powers in conjunction with yours. They don't seem overwhelmingly powerful, but it's still awesome that Cole isn't the only superhuman in the game fighting enemies. Throughout the entirety of the game, you have multiple missions where you choose to side with these two characters. Obviously, Quo is the good and Nix is the bad. Quo's plans for how to approach situations are more careful, controlled, and usually end up helping someone for the greater good. Nix's plans are reckless, dangerous, and selfish. For example, on one mission, the goal is to get a group called the Rebels who resist and fight the militia to help Cole, Nix, Zeke, and Quo get into their fortress and steal a blast core. There are two options to this mission. Quo wants to get medicine for the rebels so that they trust Cole. Nix, however, wants Cole to sneak into the militia base, pretend to be the militia, and kill innocent rebels to really piss them off so that they have no choice but to ask Cole for help. You don't just side with these two characters, you assist them with the plans they have in missions. Besides the extremely creepy bonding, you also have a chance to swap powers with either of these two characters, and unfortunately, you can only choose one, and their powers are locked to certain karmic statuses, which means if you're evil and you choose to swap powers with Quo, for example, who got powers by Bertrand basically torturing and experimenting on her, you have to work to become good to use the ice powers, and vice versa for Nix's powers. I always choose the good path when I play Infamous, so I was extremely disappointed when I realized I had to pick Elsa's powers over the super cool fire teleport thing. I personally didn't think ice was that interesting of a power. Now, it is fun to use, don't get me wrong, but Nix's powers look way more fun. But ultimately, you really get to choose which power and karmic path Cole goes on. When choosing the hero path, Cole sounds way more heroic in this game thanks to Eric Layden's delivery of some lines.
Why didn't you blow up those oil tanks in that camp? Would have made getting through a lot easier.
Hey, I'm about to start torturing families just to make my life a little easier.
Like when you heal somebody, Cole sounds so genuine.
You'll be fine. You're gonna be fine.
When you also choose the good path on certain missions, Cole just sounds nicer altogether, like he really wants to make that choice. Jason Cottle's Cole in the first game always sounded annoyed or selfish no matter which path you took. Now Infamous 2 isn't perfect about making Cole sound heroic all the time.
Pretty much. You want the militia out of your house? I'm tired of getting shot at. What do you say we work together?
Even the evil version of Cole sounds good. Not good as in karmic good, like it just sounds like good as in good to hear. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right. I do have powers. And I use them.
It's not over the top or too evil. Sometimes it seems like Cole really thinks he's making the right choice, even when he's about to do something horrible. But Cole is just gross when he's evil. I guess it's fitting. It just makes me feel uncomfortable.
Oh, she's freaky.
Hey man, you remember your dead girlfriend that got thrown off a building? Yeah, it's been a few months, but this still feels a little too soon. It's not easy writing a character that could have two different ways of thinking for two different paths of a game, but I think Sucker Punch did a pretty damn good job with writing for Cole. As you progress through your karmic journey, Cole's appearance will also change depending on the karmic tier he's at. On the good side, the levels are Guardian, Champion, and Hero. Each time you advance to the next tier, you get new tattoos, your clothes change color, the amp looks brighter and shinier, and Cole looks bright and healthy. And there's also this really sick cutscene that plays every time. On the evil side, the tiers go from Thug, Outlaw, to Infamous. Cole's evil transitions also give him new tattoos, darker, more beat up clothes, and the amp starts to look rusty and old, and Cole looks paler with his veins showing. It's kind of gross. I really like the look of Evil Cole. I get the sense that he's truly being corrupted, like his powers are transforming him to what he is on the inside, but I actually preferred the look of Evil Cole from the first game. I know it looks way less realistic, but I always thought he looked way more evil with that look. Like you'd see his veins are way more darker in his head, and he just looks disgusting, like he's dirty and covered in dirt and mud. I personally liked it a little bit more. To add on to that, I also prefer the color of Cole's evil lightning in the first game. The second game makes it look more orange than red. I wish they made it just a few shades redder, because when you compare the red lightning between these two games, the first one just looks better. You also have good and bad side missions, which are just side missions in this game. They feel less karmic-y, if that makes sense. Good and bad events also happen throughout the city. You can choose to act on these to raise or lower your karmic state, or you can do nothing at all. These pop up all the time, so no matter where you're going, you have a chance to do one of these events. You can either defuse the blast shard bombs that appear throughout the city, or blow them up, save a mugging victim, or kill everyone involved. You can stop and kill this guy that has a blast shard.
Give me that fucking blast shard! You can't even use it anyways!
Infamous 2 feels like there is so much more to do karmically than the first game. You always have an opportunity to advance in your karmic choice no matter where you are or what you do. And this game doesn't just pack shit into it just to give the player something to do or waste hours of the player's time just so they can say,
"Our game is 5,000 hours long, that means it's good, right?"
Infamous 2 is a good example of a perfect open world game with not too much padding, giving the player the choice of just steamrolling the campaign or taking their time with side missions and collectibles if you want to collect them. And even if you get everything in the game, I'm talking 100% platinum trophy, it's only 24 hours long. It's not too short and not life wasting. The perfect length, in my opinion at least. If you steamroll the campaign, it's only about 12 hours, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't do it, I wanted to, just to collect all the blast cores in the game. Because blast cores are definitely the biggest part of the game. Every one Cole collects, he gets a new power. Getting new powers is what makes the game constantly interesting and gives you that motivation to complete each mission. So, what kind of new powers does Cole get in this sequel? A consistent theme of this video is that Sucker Punch does not disappoint. They sure as hell didn't hold back on this one either. Infamous 1 did a great job letting you play as a superhero with electricity powers. They really thought outside the box to what you can do with electricity. Take what I just said and multiply it by 100. Cole not only has different variations of his own electric powers, in the original trailer, there was a tease of ice becoming a mechanic in some way. This was just the tip of the iceberg. The powers you start out with are very basic. One thing this game does that I'm not a huge fan of is creating some sort of event that causes the main character to lose some, if not all, the abilities they gained from the previous game. So once you start roaming around New Marais, you really only have your normal electric bolt, grenade, thrusters, and shockwave. But as you start completing missions and gaining XP, you start unlocking additional variations of these powers, and some of these variations are locked behind the karmic state you're in. For instance, you start out with the Alpha Grenade, but then you unlock the Stalker Grenade, which follows enemies. The electrocution grenade that does that, a sticky grenade, and so on. Along with the normal electric attacks, you have two options of additional elemental attacks that I mentioned earlier. If you choose the good side, you have the option of obtaining ice by transferring powers from Quo. If you choose the bad side, Nyx gives you her powers of fire? Smoke? I'm honestly not sure what this is. To me, it looks like smoke, so it could be the first time that we see smoke powers and a preview of what's to come in Second Son. Similar to the first game, if you're on the good karmic side, the attacks and powers are more isolated and controlled. That way you have less of a chance of hurting innocent people, whereas Nyx's ambiguous hot stuff is chaotic and can cause widespread damage. When everything is unlocked, with each attack you have multiple different choices of which variation to choose. And thank God Sucker Punch listened to my complaint that I made about the first Infamous 14 years after it came out. I really wish there was some in-game content that allowed you to have both sides of the karma level powers. That would have been incredibly fun to use right after you beat the game. After you beat the game on both karmic sides, you unlock every power, good and bad. Ice and smoke. This gives the endgame so much more value and additional playtime. It is insane how many choices you have when it comes to the powers. So each power has like 10 variations. This makes combat so very fun all of the time. I'm serious, I never get tired of this. And what makes this even more fun and easy to use is this little quick menu that good old Sucker Punch gave us. God, they're awesome. I can't imagine having to pause the game and go into the powers menu every single time I want to try something new. You can literally approach any conflict with almost endless variety. You can throw a stalker grenade at one group of guys and use a gravitation blast to throw another group of guys out of the way while you snipe someone on the roof. Not feeling that? Change your powers to wreak absolute havoc by spamming the hell out of napalm grenades and then moving on to this group of guys with a napalm wave, stunning them all, and then finishing off with a headshot that causes an explosion. Or you could just wipe everybody out within a 50-foot radius using one of the most entertaining attacks in the game with just one single button press. Ionic attacks. In inFAMOUS 1, you obtained a lightning strike as your final power at the very end of the game. inFAMOUS 2 steps up the game with giving you that ability not even an hour into the intro. Not only do you get the super attack, but throughout the game, you get not one, not two, but 4 super ionic attacks if you completely beat the game on both sides. You have the first obtainable ionic attack, Ionic Vortex, a literal fucking electric tornado that Cole just throws out of his hands. I never, ever, ever get tired of seeing this. It's cool every time. Ionic Freeze, where Cole sprouts a wave of ice spikes and freezes a whole bunch of enemies in front of him. Ionic Drain, which bio-leeches every civilian and enemy within a 10-foot radius and it replenishes all of your electricity. And finally, the last one, the big, the bad, Lightning Strike.
That's right.
That's it. It's just a lightning strike. You can't control it. Wow. Yeah. So cool. Okay, here's my rant real quick about this. In the first game, you can hold down the bottom D-pad button, call a lightning strike down, and control it with the 6-axis controller as it moved in front of you and ran out when you ran out of electricity. You could send this lightning strike through an entire block if you wanted to. In inFAMOUS 2, it literally is just a lightning strike. One and done. It stays in one place and doesn't even one-hit kill bosses.
Boo, you suck!
You jackass!
What a lame finisher. It really sucks this was the last super ionic attack you got, but it's okay. The game makes up for this with its vast choices in your powers. And hey, if you didn't want to use all of this, you could just get up close and personal with melee combat. Which brings us to the amp. Yes, I'm wearing the backpack, don't judge me. The amp is the single best change from the first game. I mentioned in my previous video how clunky and boring melee was to do in the first game, but now Cole has a f***ing electronic sword that he can just swing around, and it's awesome. Zeke made this for Cole on a trip to Numeray for making up for, you know, betraying his best friend and going with the guy that killed the love of his life. I'd forgive him if he made something like that for me. I'd forgive him. The amp is simple to understand and fun as hell to use. You can just mash square to beat the shit out of an enemy with an electronic rod, and what's this? Oh, Sucker Punch, you shouldn't have. A finisher? Just for me? Well, don't mind if I do. That's another thing in this game that never gets old every time you use it, but that guy is absolutely dead. It doesn't matter if you're good or evil. Cole literally stuck a blunt, electrified rod into this dude's head, threw it into his neck. So in conclusion, with all these combinations of powers, variations of said powers, melee and ionic attacks, makes combat in a superhero game damn near perfect. It always feels fun and new. So if this is what Sucker Punch did to just the combat in the game, what the hell did they do to everything else? So many other things were improved on and added in the sequel than most people realize. First of all, there was a feature added that could change the way you play inFAMOUS. You don't have to use a normal controller anymore. Sucker Punch added PlayStation Move support. And for those of you who didn't know, PlayStation Move was Sony's version of the Wii Remote. With the navigation controller, move controller, and PlayStation camera, you could aim at the screen and it would control where Cole was aiming. I had no idea you could even do this until this year. It made sense in my head and I thought it would be a match made in heaven. Maybe it's the size of my play area, but these things didn't feel comfortable to use at all.
My wrist kind of hurts.
I felt like I was forcing my wrist down to use the motion controller to get it to aim in the middle of the screen. The button mapping is also strange. It just feels like where certain powers are assigned doesn't make sense. For instance, to throw a grenade on the regular PlayStation 3 controller, you press square when aiming. To use it on the Move controller, you press the main button in the middle of the controller. You would think this button would be assigned to the lightning bolt button, R1 on the normal PS3 controller, for example. I use that button more than anything, but that's just me. I had to keep looking down to find the right button to press, and that could just because I didn't retrain my brain to use the Move controllers. But I feel like I shouldn't have to retrain my brain to play a game I've put hundreds of hours in just because I'm using a new controller. In conclusion, I would have just preferred the regular controller. It was also very hard for me to traverse in the game using the Move controllers. It felt more natural with the standard PS3 DualShock, which brings us to another big mechanic in inFAMOUS: parkour.
Parkour! I'm right behind you, Andy! Come on! Yeah!
Parkour! Parkour! Parkour!
Parkour was a focus point in Infamous 1. It worked pretty well most of the time. This time around, it pretty much feels the same. There's not much to improve on besides some bugs. But aside from the normal parkour system, we have a few new ways to get around, including this electric pogo stick that shoots you straight into the air. Now, I was actually kind of disappointed by this when I was younger, because in the Game Informer magazine, it shows Electric Possum Cole mid-air looking straight up with the caption, "The new induction launch ability lets Cole get airborne in an instant." I assumed by the picture and the use of the word airborne that Cole was going to be able to fly, or at least glide, better than he actually does now. I know he glides now, but you know what I'm saying. That would have been sick to see and use. But when I finally played the game, it just did this. Which in retrospect, it's better that Cole can't fly because that makes the parkour system, well, useless and less fun to traverse the city. Which you could actually fly in Infamous Festival of Blood, but we're not going to get into that right now. That's going to be a whole separate video. Along with the pogo sticks, you also have powers that you can obtain later in the game to get somewhere faster. You have the car jump, the ice jump, the Firebird strike, and finally, my personal favorite, the electric tether. This is something you get towards the end of the game. Would it have been nice to start out with this? Yes, but when you spend hours and hours traversing the city by climbing, mashing X, and having to go around rooftops to get to that one specific spot you want to go to, this is a godsend. When you finally get it, you actually feel incredibly grateful and even more excited because now you realize how much faster you can get around. I used to use this and pretend I was Spider-Man swinging around the city with an electric rope. It was awesome. Now, it didn't really work that well at all, but it's still fun. Honestly, the hardest part for me is just choosing which traversal mechanic I want to use. Choosing in general is very, very hard for me. So imagine my surprise when I found out that Sucker Punch added additional skins in the game for Cole. This is one of my favorite parts that they added. I love it when games add additional skins or costumes to the main character. It tricks my dumb ADHD brain into thinking that this is somehow a different game now just because the person looks a little different. And they nailed it with these skins, man. You have the Kessler skin, the main boss from Infamous 1, and people who actually play that game will know why this is such a cool skin for Cole. A Reaper skin, one of the common enemies from the first game, and if you're evil, this looks even cooler. Classic Cole, the costume from the first game, even though it looks ridiculous and weird without his gloves. I knew there was something missing the first time I played this game, man. And then the remaining skins just changes your amp's appearance, which unfortunately you can't combine these with the actual skins that change Cole's appearance. I wish you could, but you can't. You've got a caveman club, a samurai sword, a golden amp, and my personal favorite, Sly's cane from the Sly Cooper series. This is awesome. It's not just a cool callback to Sucker Punch's previous hit games, it's an actual weapon that Cole McGrath wields and uses. That is sick. Now, there is one skin that is not available in the game that still disappoints me to this day, and thanks to the PS3's super cool advanced cell processing. Modding isn't really available in PS3 emulation because it's so far behind. It was a skin that was already made for the game. It was done. It could have been easily implemented. That's right, get lead guitars from Electric Possum out here. I get that a lot of people hate this look, but it would have been awesome if they just put this in the game as a reference to that original E3 trailer. You could even make it like a secret unlockable if you 100% collect everything in the game and you get the platinum trophy. That would have been really awesome to see. The model was done and ready. It's a shame that this was scrapped. I would have loved to seen it in the game. The last thing that Sucker Punch added to the game, that I wish more games did, was UGC missions. Now, what does UGC mean? It stands for User Generated Content. Players from all over the world could create their own missions with any character, enemy, prop, and place them where they wanted to. Sucker Punch basically said, here's how to make your own content for Infamous 2 with developer tools. I remember spending hours in these missions. I always tried to make one, but it came out just as good as I thought it would. I didn't do a good job, is what I'm saying. But some people came up with some awesome missions. You can make custom cutscenes, subtitles, change enemy AI. It makes the game feel endless. I always loved the UGC missions where Cole was invincible and you can just destroy waves of enemies and just keep going forever. It was awesome. It's a damn shame that Sucker Punch never did this again, even for the next Infamous game and any future titles they released, like Ghost of Tsushima. This was absolutely sick, and it's awesome that you can access all of the UGC missions to this day. It looks like the servers are still online, but who knows how long they'll be up. So if you want to play them now. Needless to say, but I kind of need to say it, with all of this shit, Infamous 2 is more than a sequel. Sucker Punch really put everything into this game. They wanted to go bigger and better with Infamous. UGC, customizable skins, special elemental powers, and all of this combined with their normal powers just makes Cole feel unstoppable. Well, that is until he meets his match. The whole reason Cole got these powers in the first place was to get stronger, faster, and powerful enough to fight the This part is gonna hurt some people, man. If you haven't played Infamous 2 yet, pause the video right now and go play it. This is absolutely going to spoil the game for you. After Cole meets Wolf and obtains the RFI, Wolf is killed by the militia and Quo is kidnapped. Bertrand experiments on her and gives her ice powers by using a transfer machine powered by a blast core. He basically tortures her, which is how he was able to create the Icemen. Bertrand's whole idea was to pump this stuff into enough of these guys so he can sell them. Bertrand also has the power to create the swamp monsters by turning normal people into them. He was going to sell these guys too, to fight the Icemen that he sold to other governments around the world. His plan was to cause a conduit genocide by getting all the conduits to fight each other when governments went to war. This would also cause the world to hate conduits and think of them as only something associated with horrible war. You may be confused, because Bertrand is a conduit too. Why would he want to make people hate him? Bertrand wanted to be a god, basically. He wanted people to worship him. He wanted to be the savior. He used a race fear and killed a lot of innocent people, one of them being Nyx's mom, and Nyx was so close to the blast that she obtained powers too, just like Bertrand. Bertrand hoped to be like Cole, but instead, he just turned into a gigantic 50-foot maggot that vomits everywhere and controls the swamp monsters. Jesus, this is something straight out of Resident Evil, man. I hate this. After learning all of this, Cole and a group called the Rebels, which is led by LaRoche, an absolute creep, make the move to kill Bertrand once and for all. Bertrand kind of was just used for filler in the story, someone you had to fight while you waited for the beast to arrive. And I don't actually hate this idea. I love the idea that there is this religious figure that everyone looks up to. This guy that preaches about doing the right thing and what God wants from you, who turns out to be this horrible person that turns people into monsters, runs a militia to control a town, and sells soldiers for war to make the world hate the very thing he turned into, just because he didn't like the power he got. He's just a power-hungry, greedy political figure who a lot of people looked up to and was faking it just to get more power and money. Yup. Seems pretty damn realistic to me. While all of this is going on, Cole also doesn't really have anyone he can trust. He still doesn't trust Zeke after what he did to him in the previous game. How could you trust your best friend after they started hanging out with the guy that killed the love of your life? Zeke, for the entirety of the game, is trying to win Cole's trust back, which is why he built him the amp. Even when they've been in New Marais for a while, Zeke has a plan to be a spy and get intel from the militia by joining them, to which Cole says,
"Better not wake up in a militia cage."
And you really can't blame him. But the shining moment that really gets Cole to trust Zeke again is when Bertrand captures Cole in a trap. Cole can't shoot his way out, he has no electricity to drain from to heal, Quo and Nyx aren't answering, and who comes to the rescue without even being called? Zeke does. After saving Cole's ass, Cole admits he hasn't been fair to Zeke, and then Zeke says something beautiful, honestly.
"Look, I don't call you brother because I like the way it sounds."
And that leads us to my favorite scene in the entire game. In this scene, only one line is spoken. 3 words. Towards the end of the game, when Cole collects one of the last blast cores, he heads to the hangout spot that Zeke made for them. For the first time in what feels like months, they just sit down together. They turn off their phones, they grab a beer, and they watch a movie.
I love that part.
They start hanging out like they did before all this crazy shit happened. Before Cole got powers, they just hang out. Like brothers. People who are playing this game for a second time really appreciate this scene. I love it when Cole wakes up and he activates the blast core. Zeke doesn't even wake up or move and lightning's just shooting all around him like he's so used to it at this point. I think that's funny. That's a cool part. The camera doesn't even change angles. This scene is just perfection. Cole forgives and finally can trust Zeke, and they just become brothers again. Once Bertrand is killed by the Rebels and Cole, and he can trust Zeke, we finally make it to the Beast. The big bad that was teased in the first game. The mysterious creature that will end the world and only Cole McGrath can stop it. Once the Beast finally makes it to New Marais, Zeke has an idea of how to get rid of the Beast.
Take off those panels back there. You'll see.
Jesus, Zeke. Is that a nuke?
Cole and Zeke try to blast it with a nuke, and they succeeded, but the Beast, unsurprisingly, just pulls himself together again. Okay, first of all, don't fire a nuke at something that is literally not even a few miles away from the city. I'm pretty confident that would have just killed everybody. The Beast mysteriously disappears after the nuke. Enter John White. You know the guy that you absolutely disintegrated from the first game? You know where I'm going with this. Yeah, he's the Beast. Now, again, as a young man, this twist blew my brain out of the water. I thought John was absolutely dead. There was no way he was coming back. When John was brought back in that red coat and pants, I couldn't believe my eyes. That means that Cole McGrath created the Beast by destroying or activating the Ray Sphere. Sorry, just to break this down because I'm an absolute nerd about this stuff. Kessler, which is Cole from the future, went back in time, created the Ray Sphere, gave it to Cole so Cole would get powers and to warn him that a Beast is coming and to prepare for that. But Kessler technically created the beast by doing this. It's just weird. So even if Kessler didn't go back in time, somehow Cole would have still got powers, maybe even later in life, and the beast still would have arrived. So it's like a canon event from Across the Spider-Verse. No matter what you do or how you alter the timeline, Cole getting powers and the beast arriving is inevitable. You can't prevent it. It's going to happen no matter what. Anyways, off my super nerdy rant, John comes back and he's the beast. John calmly talks to Cole, explaining that he's been traveling across the country activating conduits. Now, the only reason he's doing this is because there's a plague that's going around from the blast in Empire City that Cole caused. The only way to cure the plague is by activating conduits, but only conduits. So each and every time he does this, it kills every normal person in the area. This is a for sure way to cure the plague in select people, but it comes with a cost. Now hold on to that for a second. While Cole roams New Marais, people are coughing and getting sick too. The plague has already spread to New Marais, meaning it's probably all over the country at the very least. This thing is spreading fast. Sooner or later, everyone's going to get it, and
hey, I'm fine.
Oh shit, no. Cole has to cure this thing fast. Once Cole absorbs the very last blast core and is ready to power the RFI, he tries to activate it.
Oh my God, I was dying, I could feel it.
So now you see the problem. Either use the RFI and kill every single conduit on the planet with the possibility of curing the plague, because they don't know for sure if it will, or help the beast activate conduits, basically making normal humans extinct. But it guarantees some of humanity's survival. So now you see the big karmic choice at the end. Once you start the last mission, you have a choice to make, and you have certain people on certain sides. But in yet another twist, it's not who you think it is. After playing the entirety of the game, with good karma, Cole and Quo were always on the same team. You can obviously tell which side character is good and bad, but at the end, in a strange twist of events,
John's plan is not pretty. It's not, but it's right. The conduits are immune to the plague. He needs to make as many as he can before more of the sick die.
Quo is on the wrong side. Quo admits the beast plan is not great. However, it guarantees the cure. Yes, it will kill billions of innocent people, but at least people will survive, including herself. Nyx wants to kill the beast no matter what because
Pal, just killed all my babies.
She trained and bonded with the swamp monsters. I know, stay with me. And she became very attached to them, like pets. And the beast, by activating conduits, accidentally wiped out all of her pets. To be completely honest, it seems to me like this was just the writer's quick way to get Nyx to be on the opposite side for the twist. Now, I would have preferred Nyx bring up the fact that she saw her mom die, because her mom was just human and not a conduit, and she doesn't want 70% of the world to go through what she went through, but that's just me. So, whether you like it or not, the choice you make forces you to oppose the side character you spent the entirety of the game with. Now, either choice you make is going to be extremely emotional, to say the least. God, I remember playing this for the first time and I didn't want to believe what was coming. I knew either side ended in heartache. I truly didn't even want to choose. But that's the point of inFAMOUS. You have to make a choice.
Let's find John. Let him know we'll help.
Once Cole chooses to go with Quo and find John, of course, Nyx and Zeke are upset. Nyx steals the RFI and disappears. Zeke, for the first time, in the most serious line delivery I've ever heard from this character, says,
"You ever see me again, shoot first."
Damn. After everything him and Cole just went through, it sucks to see the anger Zeke feels towards Cole for not even trying to save his life. You really sympathize with these characters. Not only his life, but billions of other people. Once Quo and Cole meet up with the Beast, Cole's powers are amplified and he can basically fly throughout the city. Looks like my dream came true. The game tells you to wreak havoc in the city with John, which, let's face it, if you have evil karma, you've been doing this the whole time. So the game just lets you go batshit crazy. The Beast is eventually stopped by Nyx, who's using the RFI to stop him. Cole now has to fight and kill Nyx in order to complete his mission. The woman you've been flirting with, spending the most time with, bonding with, you have to kill her now. And honestly, she goes out in a horrific way. Cole just pins her down with the amp around her neck and shocks her to death. Sucker Punch is ruthless, man. Oh boy, you have no idea how ruthless they can be. No. No, no, no. Please.
I gotta try.
I know.
Zeke saying he has to try, knowing damn well he will not succeed, makes it so much worse. Zeke knows he can't beat Cole, but he can't just give up either. Sucker punch, please. Don't make me. Don't make me do this. You have to willingly kill Zeke, your best friend, your brother. You have to actually press the button to kill him. It's not some big boss battle where Zeke gets a suit of armor or powers or a mech somehow. Nope. It's just normal Zeke against Cole. Brother against brother. I hate that part. Every time I hate doing that. After that roller coaster of emotions, the Beast tells Cole he can't go on. He doesn't want to kill anymore. He doesn't have it in him, but he knows Cole does. The Beast then transfers all of his powers into Cole. Once he does, the Beast explodes, causing another race fear-like event that kills thousands in New Marais, but activates new conduits. It's Cole's job now to go throughout the world, killing billions so that thousands can live. When I was a kid, I was kind of disappointed because the shitty thing is, you don't get to control Cole or use his new Beast powers, unless you play PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Now, when I replayed this game, I realized something. The sick thing is, the developers changed Cole's clothes in the evil ending to give this horrible idea that he is doing the right thing. He's wearing the hero karmic clothing. I love this little detail. Cole is now, unfortunately and truthfully, the only savior humanity has. There are no other options for survival. No one else is coming to help. No one is saving them.
I have become the Beast. You think you can fix it?
I better be able to.
Alright. Let's do it.
Once Cole chooses to activate the RFI, risking to sacrifice himself and other conduits to save the rest of the world, Quo freaks out and leaves. Once they get the plan in place, Cole and Zeke are able to talk. One last time.
As soon as the RFI's ready, I'm gonna flip the switch. It's not gonna be time for buys.
I'm not gonna cry. As Cole is going throughout New Marais to defeat the Beast, everyone is cheering him on. Even the militia, the guys who've been fighting the entire game. It's kind of beautiful, honestly. All of humanity putting aside their differences to save the world. That would never happen in real life, but it's cool it's in this game. Quo shows up shortly after, and you have to actually fight her. You have to fight the ally that has been by your side the entire game. I'm telling you guys, every step of this last mission hurts to do. After defeating Quo, Cole turns to the Beast and gives him everything he's got again, but it isn't enough. Nyx notices this and sacrifices herself to help Cole finish the job. Damn, this is really making me think that maybe Nyx was the good guy all along, even if she's doing it for her own selfish reasons. After defeating Quo and the Beast, Cole is ready to charge the RFI. Once the RFI is fully charged, Cole becomes the most powerful he's ever been. But the game doesn't let you just activate the RFI right away. Nah, this is Sucker Punch we're talking about. They literally let you face the Beast head on with basically invincibility plus infinite power, and you just spam the shit out of the attack button. You literally take the entirety of the boss's health bar away in like 10 seconds. This is just to show you how powerful Cole is and to go all out one last time. After Cole obliterates the Beast, Quo shows up, beaten all to hell. She starts sobbing, admitting that she was wrong and that she's just afraid to die. To which Cole says,
I am scared.
I am too.
This hit way harder as an adult to me for some reason. Yeah, if I was the only person that could save the entire world, but I had to die in order to do it, I obviously would, but I'd still be terrified. It just shows how Cole really is just a normal guy that got powers. Cole is finally ready to activate the RFI, the most impactful moment of the game. In Infamous 1, the game tells you to press the start button to activate the race sphere and start Cole's journey. Now, in Infamous 2, you have to press all of the power buttons to end Cole's journey. Giving the player to make the choice is the whole idea of Infamous. Choice. You choose. You're in control. You choose to be good or bad, to save or kill, to be selfless or selfish. So now you are in total control, whether you like it or not. You have to press those buttons to end Cole's life. Once all buttons are pressed, two words pop up on the screen. Two little words that have never affected me so hard. Let go. This isn't just telling the player to let go of the buttons. The player makes one final choice.
For the thousands that died, millions were gonna live. The plague, man, it was just gone. I could already hear people starting to party, just celebrating being alive. I thought my friend was gonna go down as an unsung hero. But here in New Marais, they knew what he had done for them. Who'd have guessed that the demon of Empire City would become the patron saint of New Marais?
I honestly didn't think Sucker Punch would do it. I couldn't believe it. They killed off Cole McGrath. I cannot think of a better ending to the good side either. This was the best possible way to end the game, to really show how much of a hero Cole is. Zeke just holding Cole's lifeless body broke me. When the civilians carried Cole and made a memorial made me tear up. But the one thing that gets me every damn time I play this game, the line that just brings chills all over my body, is when Zeke says,
"He had been my best friend, and now he was gone." Sometimes I hear folks talking about conduits and humans like they're totally different. That's bullshit, because there ain't nobody with more humanity than Cole McGrath. I love you, brother, and I'm sure gonna miss you.
Okay, yeah, now I'm gonna cry. Yep, now's the time. There have been very few games in my life to make me feel like this. Just staring at the end credits scene in disbelief, reflecting everything I just witnessed. I was extremely attached to Infamous. In my previous video, I mentioned that I played the first Infamous during a very hard time in my life. So playing it made me feel like I was in control. It made me feel safe. It just made me feel good, man. I loved the character of Cole McGrath. So when those end credit scenes started rolling, I was bawling. I truly felt like I had lost a friend, someone that helped me get through a really difficult time, as cheesy as that sounds. It's true. That was just my personal experience with it. And that's why I made these videos and why it took me so long to make this one. I don't want to rush it out just for views. I want to make it as amazing as I possibly can because that's how much Infamous means to me. I know there probably isn't a ton of Infamous fans out there, but whether you played it for a little bit or played the hell out of it like I did, I truly hope this video did something for you. Even when I'm almost 30, I look back on these two games as core moments in my childhood. I truly love these games. These memories that I have with Cole McGrath and these stupid electric powers will last forever. As I keep replaying these games though, they start to lose that magic. So I will rarely replay games that still give me a speckle of that same feeling I felt the first time I played them. And replaying Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 made me feel just that. That same feeling I felt as a kid when I didn't have a care in the world. When my biggest concern were these characters, I still remember how it felt, and I cannot risk losing that feeling. I just want to remember these games as I do right now in this moment. So as much as it hurts, I will put these discs back in these game cases, most likely for the last time. I have a really bad habit of constantly looking back, whether that be music, TV shows, movies. I will constantly try to listen, watch, or replay those same things over and over to get that same feeling. So much to the point where I'm missing out on what's happening now, and I'm missing out on new experience that could give me that same feeling years from now. I have to let go. Now, I will never stop loving these games. I love Infamous, and I always will. They help me more than anyone in the world will ever know. What else can I say about this series that I haven't already said? It genuinely is hard for me to put into words, so I'll just end it on this. There will never be another game like Infamous. I love you, brother, and I'm sure gonna miss you. It seems like gaming nowadays is lacking some major creativity, and I'm not talking about indie games either. These games are keeping creativity alive. I'm more so talking about AAA video games. Now, I could just be biased, but I personally feel like a ton of creativity came out of the PlayStation 2, Xbox / PS3 360 era. Games that originally came out during those generations are still getting sequels to this day. I get it because it is the safe route to go. People already know these franchises and they know how to play these games. Not only creative games, but creative expansions on games we're releasing. DLCs that were standalone, but used assets from the major original release. DLCs like Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, Far Cry Blood Dragon, Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. I could go on and on. These were DLCs that were standalone, meaning that you can play them without having to play the original release. And especially around this time, they were entertaining and creative as hell. Now we just get fucking battle passes, pay to win, and announcing DLCs before the game is even out. Bad Nintendo. Bad. Now, one DLC from this generation that immediately pops into my head is from one of my favorite dead franchises, Infamous. I have made 2 one-hour-long videos about Infamous 1 and Infamous 2 respectively, so I obviously care about these games a lot. So when I was a kid and I saw that Sucker Punch was making a DLC where Cole becomes a vampire and you can stake other vampires, fly around as a bat, suck the blood from people, and kill Bloody Mary herself, all with his electric powers included, sign me up right now, please. This game takes place, I'm assuming, somewhere in the middle of the events from Infamous 2, since they can't really happen after, because of spoilers. But honestly, it doesn't really matter when this game takes place. It does feel separate while also feeling canon at the same time, somehow. This DLC feels like Cole and Zeke have like a comic run where they go on multiple adventures, and this is just one of those adventures. The DLC starts with Zeke at the bar with his glasses off. Oh, weird. And by the way, using the end credits song from Infamous 2 for the beginning of this DLC is evil, Sucker Punch. And people who played Infamous 2 know exactly what I'm talking about. A woman approaches the bar and the horn dog that is Zeke immediately tries to pick her up. And he gets her interest saying that he knows the Electric Man, Cole McGrath, and starts talking about how they went on this crazy adventure where they encountered vampires. Hell of a pickup line. In this game, Cole is canonically a hero at the beginning. He heard about people needing his help in some catacombs and they need some healing, which brings us to the vampires and Bloody Mary herself. And Sucker Punch, thank God, is still using the awesome comic book cutscenes and even some amazing added cutscenes with a shadow puppet show spin to it. It looks incredible. They don't mess with this. I am telling you, this whole game is incredibly creative. But back to Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary bites Cole, sucks his blood, and Cole becomes a badass superhero electric vampire. And if he doesn't kill the vampire who bit him, Bloody Mary, by the morning, he will be a vampire forever. The goal is to kill Bloody Mary by sunrise so Cole can return to normal. All while fighting off vampires in the streets, collecting blood vials, deciphering vampire messages, and this all takes place on a fictional holiday in fictional New Marais called Pyre Night. Sick. Now Zeke is telling the story to a woman at the bar, but he's narrating everything that is going on as it's happening in real time in the game. It has a real storytelling vibe to it. I also love the fact that Zeke explains Cole is technically a hero at the beginning of the game, but he has to suck blood from the innocent people to refill his blood meter. So Zeke explains that this hurts Cole to do, and Cole hates it every single time he does it. Now Cole never actually really shows remorse for this or comments on this. It's just told to us, which is fine. At least they included the line at all. The whole idea of this game is badass. First of all, making the main protagonist of the Infamous games become a vampire is incredible. Back to my point earlier, imagine if any major PlayStation game had a standalone DLC like this. Something that was its own thing, but also felt completely off the wall. Imagine if Spider-Man had a DLC where he becomes a werewolf, Jin Sakai becoming a vampire roaming the island of Tsushima, Kratos turning into a zombie fighting off enemies in hell. I'll take any one of these, please. So seeing Festival of Blood's release was just something cool to see. It's not really connected to anything. It's just a fun nonsense DLC while also feeling like it has just as much quality as the other games. But the downside to this game is that it's super short, like unbelievably short. 2.5 hours for the main story, and 4.5 hours to completely beat the game. I was honestly shocked when I got to the very end. I was like, there's more to this, right? There's no way I'm already at the ending. It took like 2 days for me. And I don't get to play video games a lot. Again, not meant to be a main AAA release, but something that is just fun to do. This game released at $4.99. $5. I can't even buy a Happy Meal with that anymore. Even back then, this was definitely worth it, especially since Sucker Punch added a few mechanics that was never seen in the Infamous franchise before. So technically, you can have a new experience in this DLC that you can't experience in the original games. Like flying! Since Cole is now a vampire, he also gets additional powers in the game. And he also gets a new weapon. And usually in Infamous 2, Cole fights with the amp. But in Festival of Blood, he loses the amp at the beginning, rips a wooden cross from a casket so he can fight the vampires and stake them to death. And there's also a few added finisher animations using this wooden stake. I'm telling you guys, this game is awesome. As you progress throughout the DLC, you start to obtain upgraded electric abilities, and unfortunately you can't switch these out for the other abilities you get, like in Infamous 2, but at least you're not stuck with the beginning vanilla powers. Now since you're a vampire, you also get vampire abilities, of course. The first and most important ability, at least to me, is flying. This is something that I sorely wanted and thought originally was in Infamous 2. When holding up on the D-pad, you can just fly anywhere you want to and even stake vampires immediately by flying towards them and pressing square. Now this is limited to how much blood you have in your blood meter. You can refill this blood meter by biting civilians and staking vampires. You can also expand the blood meter gauge by collecting these blood vials, which I did immediately. I literally stopped everything I was doing and collected all 100 blood jars just so I could do this. Worth it. But for some reason, unknown to me, if you go too high, the game just puts you back on the ground. Sucker Punch, why? This is the whole reason I wanted to fly in the first place! Cole also obtains a vampire sense that he can use to discover undercover vampires in the streets, finding Bloody Mary's teachings, which just explains her past and shows how much of a bitch she is, finding blood jars, and other vampire stuff. Now that pretty much covers it for the additional powers you get in the game, which again for a $5 DLC, is pretty damn good. Now when you beat the main story, there are still additional things to do. Besides getting all the collectibles and trophies, Sucker Punch also brought over a very cool feature from Infamous 2. UGC missions. Now, this stands for user-generated content, meaning anybody that can connect to the internet through their PS3 can create and share their own missions. This gives the game even more life, and these missions are still online to this day over 13 years later. And I didn't even know this until like just now writing the script, but apparently when you beat 15 UGC missions, you get an additional skin for Cole called Full Vampire. That would have been awesome to see in Infamous 2 as an added feature later on, but whatever, at least it's in this game at all. Now some additional things that Sucker Punch did to this DLC, they recolor graded the entire city to make it fit more tonally to the vampire aesthetic, along with adding decorations and changing civilian models to make it really feel like a celebration is going on for Pyre Night. Unfortunately, only one section of the city is visible for this because of development constraints, but there is still plenty of room to explore. I do hate that this DLC is really short, but for the price, you really cannot complain. And besides, the whole vampire thing is just a fun addition to the mechanics that Infamous originally had. And spoilers in just a moment, this is completely unrelated, but the ending is absolutely hilarious.
Thanks for the story, Zeke. Very educational.
Oh, shit!
Oh, shit! This video isn't nearly as long as my other Infamous videos. That was on purpose. And just like the game, this is just a fun little additional thing that I wanted to make for this, unfortunately, dead franchise. I guess you could say the Infamous series got bitten by a vampire because of the whole undead thing. You know what, moving on. This expansion was so damn creative, and I genuinely miss stuff like this coming out aside from the original main release. Now, to be fair, we have gotten free DLCs like the Astrobot DLC levels and Valhalla for God of War Ragnarok, paid DLCs like Iki Island expansion, The City That Never Sleeps for Spider-Man, the Starfield expansion, and the DK Isles for DK Bonanza, but none of those ever felt quite as unique and special as some of the other DLCs that I mentioned. They never felt truly unique and different from the main game. Far Cry Blood Dragon is still universally loved, and I'd argue the most creative thing Ubisoft has ever fucking made. Besides Rayman. Rayman is cool. Does Ubisoft still make that? I'm pretty sure they do. If they do, Rayman's cool. And I know there's still stuff like this that is coming out every now and then. The only point that I'm trying to make is that when you love a series so much, and the developers release something that is completely off the wall and refreshing and imaginative and just fun, it's awesome to see. And that's exactly what Infamous Festival of Blood is. Even if it's only for a short while, it's just fun. Happy Halloween, everyone. And if you're not watching this during the Halloween season, then happy, normal, average day or whatever. Just make up your own holiday, I don't care. Now, was this video an excuse to not play a scary game because I'm a baby back bitch? Yes. In February of 2013, Sony held a conference revealing their next-gen system succeeding the PlayStation 3. They revealed this console would be called the PlayStation 4. Wow, surprise, surprise. Scheduled for launch that same year. Yes, it has been 12 years since the PS4 launched. Time is an illusion! This conference saw the reveal of the DualShock 4, peripherals for the next-gen console, and some new games that would be released around the system's launch window to show off this new godlike hardware. This conference was packed with next-gen games like Killzone, Watch Dogs, and the first reveal of Sucker Punch's next new game exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Nate Fox enters the stage to talk about the state of the world, constant surveillance under the government, corrupt law enforcement, and other depressing things. No one knew what this new game could have been. Infamous 2 pretty much ended in a way that it was kind of hard to continue a story in that world. Then that trailer started playing. I remember being 15 years old on that Wednesday of February 20th, 2013. I had an iPod Touch with access to the internet maybe once a week. This one day, I got lucky enough to get on YouTube and see a thumbnail and title for something that I would obsess over for the next preceding year. I saw a trailer that got me so excited that I immediately tried to figure out how I was going to get a PS4. I didn't care about any other game. I didn't care about how much it would cost, what it would take to get it. The only thing on my mind was how this new game was going to fit in this world. Who this new character was, how am I going to use his powers, how much fun I was going to have. The only thing on my mind was it. Infamous Second Son was fully revealed at E3 2013. Of course, we saw the CGI trailer at the PlayStation conference back in February, but CGI trailers don't usually represent the final game. In this case, however, that wasn't the case. The full gameplay reveal showed incredible graphics, amazing in-game models, all with improved lighting and particle effects, smoke powers, and the incredibly detailed open-world city. This trailer got me so hyped for the PS4 generation. Honestly, the transition from PS3 to PS4 felt like the last big meaningful step in graphics. Even to this day, Infamous Second Son on base PS4 hardware looks phenomenal. It was hard to believe this was a real PS4 game. No smoke and mirrors, unintended. No capture on PC, but we promise it will look like this on PS4. No missing puddles. This was the real deal. The only disappointing part was PS4 players would have to wait until March of 2014 to play this game. A whole 4 months after the console's release. Let's hope Nat can keep you busy until then. Now, unfortunately for me, I didn't get a PS4 on launch day. I didn't even really get one when Second Son released. Despite my efforts, there was no way I was gonna get a $400 next-gen console at 16 years old. However, my good friend Zach got a goddamn PS4 for Christmas in 2013, and I was there when he opened it. Imagine my jealousy and excitement for my very good friend when he got the one thing I wanted more than anything in the entire world. I sound like an asshole, I know. Have you ever been to a birthday party where the birthday kid is getting all of these cool presents and there's always that one kid that's right next to him just getting in the way of all of the pictures, just right up the birthday kid's ass, trying to get a taste of his presents? Yeah, I was up that ass. Anyways, the first thing that I asked him when he got this magical unicorn was, "Are you gonna get Second Son? Oh man, I heard it's gonna be a really good game. I wouldn't miss out on it if I were you." Secretly hoping he would get it since that would be my only ticket to play the game. His response was, "Maybe." hell, I'll take it. March of 2014 came around and my friend Zach did end up getting Second Son for the PS4. You better bet your ass chaps I was there at his house every chance I could get to see him play the game. And he must have felt my chihuahua pissing on the floor excitement because he handed me the controller and told me I could play. He wasn't too impressed with the game. He said it was alright, but remember, Zach never played Infamous before. This was his first time. He had a 360, not a PS3 like me. This uncultured swine had no idea what he was missing. When he handed me the controller, I thought,
this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. Let a real fan get in there and experience greatness. I'll appreciate this game way more than him. I'll give it the love that it deserves while he rots in hell. Where was I? Right. Enjoy your power.
I booted up a new save file. I still remember holding that awesome PS4 controller, looking at the lights change on the front, moving the thumbsticks around, pressing the triggers, just waiting and itching to get into the game. I actually couldn't believe it. I was going to play Infamous Second Son close to launch. I didn't think it would be possible. I was experiencing next gen right there. The game started up and I was blown away by the graphics. Oh my god, this game looks so good. Oh shit, I have to hold the controller sideways like a spray paint can? This is awesome. I can scan my finger. I use the touchpad to absorb smoke. God, this game is so gorgeous. My brain was moving at 100 miles a second. I played this for as long as I could, as much as I could. I beat the entire game on the good side within a week or so, and then immediately beat it on the evil side. The wait was finally over. I got to play a sequel to my favorite series on next generation hardware without spending a dime, and I felt so underwhelmed. I told people that I absolutely loved the game at the time, but I was just trying to convince myself that I did love this game and there was nothing wrong with it because that's how much I cared about Infamous. I couldn't imagine that a game of this proportion could disappoint me. How? Why? What happened? At the time, I didn't really know. Fast forward about 2 years and I'm 19 and I can finally afford a PlayStation 4 on my own with the money that I got for working at a shitty ass factory. I got the Uncharted 4 bundle and of course, I got Second Son at GameStop for like 20 bucks. I was so hyped to finally jump into this game again. The first time must have just been bad timing or something. Surely it would feel much better on something that I actually owned. There's no way I don't like this game. Here we go. Let's try this again.
Damn it! Okay, something is definitely wrong. After beating this game about 5 times, I still had that feeling and it just would not go away. I did enjoy this game, but I didn't love it. And that's bad. I just put the game down and tried picking it up again throughout the years, and with every attempt, I just still had that same feeling. I just had to give up and accept it. I didn't love this game. I thought that maybe it was because I was getting older. Maybe I just don't like the same things I used to. Maybe I'm grown out of Infamous. Nope, that's impossible. In 2023, I replayed Infamous 1, and I had an absolute blast. I had that exact same feeling I had from when I was a kid. I was having fun again. That's the feeling I was looking for in Second Son. And in 2025, I replayed Infamous 2. There it is again. Oh man, thank God. Okay, I haven't lost my love for this franchise, and now I finally replayed Infamous Second Son. Damn it. Why do I feel like this? What could it be? The writing, the tone, the world, the characters, the cringe? Or maybe it's...
Infamous Second Son is not a threequel in the Infamous franchise. Sucker Punch finished Cole McGrath's story, and Second Son is just a continuation in that same universe. But people who played Infamous 2 know that there are 2 separate endings for that game depending on the karmic path that you took. Without any spoilers, Second Son follows the good ending. It's been 7 years since the events of Infamous 2. The world definitely seems way more normal than ever. This game follows the story of a young delinquent named Delson Rowe in the made-up city of Seattle? Wait, Infamous 1 took place in Empire City. Infamous 2 took place in New Marais, but this game takes place in Seattle? Interesting. Well, that's because Sucker Punch's office was located in Seattle during the game's development, and they wanted to model the open world after the streets they saw every day. That's actually incredibly cool. This game starts off with you spray painting on a billboard with the sheriff's face on it, showing you just how bad this guy really is. Uh-oh, the sheriff shows up and now Delsin has to hide away in his shared home with the fictional tribe known as the inFAMOUS people. We meet Betty, who reminds me of my dear sweet Nana. Please don't let anything happen to her. She tells Delsin that she'll distract the sheriff while you run away, and the game shows you one of the many staples in the infamous franchise, parkour, which is looking better than ever, I might say. Climb some rocks, touch some bird shit, admire this game's beauty, and uh-oh, looks like the sheriff is your brother Reggie and you're going to jail. But first, truck.
This is totally a wacky, look behind you moment in the game. It really feels like one of those moments where one of the characters in a movie says, the truck's right behind me, isn't it? Thank you, thank you.
The truck crashes, a couple of convicts climb out, except for one. Delsin helps this guy, Hank, from under the rubble. Turns out he's got superpowers, also known as a conduit or bioterrorist, which is a sick name.
Side note, I love Reggie's reaction when he sees that Hank is actually a conduit. He just looks at him with like, oh no. He knows he is not gonna beat this guy. Reggie is fucked.
Delsin grabs Hank and starts to absorb his powers immediately. The infamous, pun intended, Sucker Punch comic book style cutscene makes its return in this game, and damn, this is the best it's ever looked. Especially the morphing effect at the beginning. I don't know how they did this, but it looks incredible. This happens multiple times in the game, and it just looks amazing every single time. We find out this guy and the two others are conduits who escaped a special bioterrorist prison and now are being hunted by the DUP, which is a special force that deals specifically with conduits. I know it's a lot, stick with me here. Delsin freaks out about his new powers and doesn't really know how to use them or how to feel. And Reggie, being the awesome big brother that he is, just holds Delsin and comforts him. He's not scared at all of Delsin. He just wants to be there for him and help. Damn. What a good big brother. Delsin chases Hank into the inFAMOUS Lodge only to run into the head of the DUP, Augustine. I hate this bitch. She catches Hank, demands Delsin tell her what happened in there and what Hank told him. We then run into the second staple of the infamous franchise, the infamous karma system. I'm sorry, last time I promised. You can make a choice to either tell her the truth to sacrifice herself or tell her to kick rocks and sacrifice the safety of the tribe. It doesn't matter. Either way, she either doesn't believe you or she punishes you for not telling her the truth that she already doesn't believe. And then moves on to shove concrete shards into the other inFAMOUS people for answers.
No! After being in a coma for a week, Delsin wakes up and he's healed. But the others are not healed. In fact, they're not getting better. So Delsin and Reggie make a plan to go to Seattle and get Augustine's power so they can save Nana. I mean, the inFAMOUS people. So they make their way to Seattle to confront Augustine, but they can't really confront a conduit that can stab them from the inside out, which is why Delsin needs to upgrade himself a little bit first. He needs to go and get some new powers. And that is what this infamous games gimmick is all about. The beautiful, spectacular PS4 enhanced game.
The best thing about inFAMOUS is getting to use superpowers in an open world however you want to. In the previous games, you played as Cole McGrath controlling one element, lightning, with ice and napalm being mixed in eventually. And then there's the vampire stuff, but electricity was still the main focus. Second Son dials that up to 11 with the introduction of Delsin Rowe. And what is his special power? Oh, he just has the ability to absorb and use other conduits' powers. Let's start off with the first power, smoke. Not only does this look absolutely beautiful in action, it has the potential for so many use cases in both combat and traversal. This game also follows the formula of being able to upgrade your powers as you progress through the game, which I'll talk about some of that later, but first off, Sucker Punch actually completely changed the button layout from the previous infamous games. Before, on the PS3, you could hold L1 and basically hit any other button on the PS3 controller to use a different electric power. This left a lot of room for variety and different approaches to combat, but in Second Son, the control scheme is more simplified to where it adopts a more traditional modern shooter approach. You can aim with L2 and then shoot a single shot with the R2 trigger. You can also feel the impact of this condensed smoke shot with every single hit. L1 allows you to throw a smoke grenade to entrap enemies in to either subdue them or kill them. R1 shoots an incredibly powerful rocket that has major impact and blowback. Holding R2 creates a powerful smoke blast that knocks back enemies. Circle allows you to do a teleport dash type move that's mainly used for traversal, or it can also be combined with pressing square for melee and slamming down enemies to the ground. And then there's the awesome superhero slam down move when jumping from high places, previously known as the Thunder Drop. When using using the smoke power, you can also traverse in the city by going to these vents scattered throughout the world to launch upwards, which is fun literally every time. And thanks to our friend Fetch, the next power Delsin obtains is Neon. Now Neon is a little more precise than smoke. Pressing R2 shoots a single shot, which aiming at the head of an enemy can instantly evaporate them. Shooting the legs can subdue them. R1 is a precise rocket that's like a sniper shot. L1 is a neon ball of energy that blasts enemies in the air in slow motion, which again can kill them or subdue them. Circle allows Delsin to travel up buildings endlessly or zip around the place like the Flash, but just much slower. And that's it. Oh. Huh, not a lot different from smoke. Okay, well, we still have a few powers left. Eugene helps Delsin obtain the power of video. Holding R2 shoots a video beam, L1 turns you invisible to either again subdue or kill enemies, R1 is a rocket that shoots swords out of your hand with a lock-on feature, but it's still technically a rocket. Circle shoots Delsin forward with a pair of wings and a gliding sword away, again for traversal.
Are you noticing a pattern here? Because I sure as shit am. This is the first and potentially worst thing about Second Son. The concept of Delsin being able to use and absorb other conduits' powers sounds incredibly fun and amazing, with so much variety for combat and traversal. In theory, but as everyone knows, and especially nowadays, making game hard. In the span of 6 years, Sucker Punch was able to make 5, absorb that for a second, 5 Infamous games. Now yes, these two technically were standalone DLCs, but just hold on, just give me a second. How rude. Voices in my head that I'm pretending is the audience because I'm assuming that's what you're gonna say as I'm recording this right now live, probably a month ahead before I'm done making this video. 5 games in 6 years is completely fucking nuts. We can't even get 1 game in 6 years anymore from some of these studios. So the point that I'm trying to get to is that Infamous Second Son seems like it was rushed. With Infamous 2 and Festival of Blood releasing in 2011, that means Sucker Punch had to immediately start development on a PS4 next-gen title scheduled for release in 2013. That leaves 3 years to work on a next-gen game. And how do you spice up a game that's already had 3 entries in the franchise? More graphics and more powers. Which brings us to these different powers. Spoiler, they're not that different. They all have a similar layout and very similar actions. R2 shoot, R1 missile, L1 equals either subdue or kill enemies while you're suspended or they're suspended, circle is traversal, square is melee. That's it. Now please don't get me wrong, these powers look visually amazing on screen, but when you're using them in combat, it gets boring quickly after a few hours. Now compare this to Infamous 1 and Infamous 2. Cole had shockwaves, electric blades, melee finishers, electric tethers, different kinds of grenades, power shots, different ways of traversal, bulletproof shields, multiple variations of the same power, and so on and so on. This is what is so jarring about Second Son. There is the illusion of more, but there really isn't that much more. This threequel is taking more away than what it gives, which is where that disappointment is coming from. So the idea of having different powers ends up being a disappointment when you start to realize, oh, this is kind of it.
There is a very cool skill tree that changes how your powers work and what upgrades you get depending on your karmic status, but again, it doesn't really change that much from the base powers, and some of the karmic variations for the powers don't make sense either, which I'll get to later. Melee combat is also the worst it's been. It's slow, not that much fun to use, and there's not even a finisher anymore. So once again, it's actually downgraded compared to the previous entries. Damn, I miss the amp. I hate this chain. While it is a cool idea, it's not very fun. You also have a super massive power that can take out a ton of enemies at once. This super is also known as a Karma Bomb, apparently. The types of Karma Bombs you get in the game are the Orbital Drop, the Radiant Sweep, and the Hellfire Swarm. They look amazing, and honestly, the Orbital Drop never gets old. It's fun to use every time, but there's that lingering problem with variety. Now, Infamous 1 did only have 1 massive power. However, it was controllable. You could call a f***ing lightning strike from the sky and make it go wherever you wanted to by tilting the PS3 controller back and forth, and it only ran out when you ran out of energy. So it could potentially last a while, and it made you feel like a god. It didn't look great cinematically like these Karma Bombs do, but it was way more functional. Infamous 2 had 4 different ionic powers that were a lot more similar to these karma bombs in Second Son, and they were also switchable on the fly. You could change this anytime you wanted to in combat instead of having to find that element and drain it to switch it like in Second Son. You could also hold 3 charges of this at once when you upgraded it to the max. Even though Second Son's karma bombs are really flashy, there's only 3 and I don't get the satisfaction out of using it like I did with the tornado or the lightning strike. Plus, you could only use it once before having to refill it again by doing karmic actions. Hell, if you're not standing in the perfect spot, you could only take out about 2 enemies at once, even if there are 20 above you or in the surrounding area. These karma bombs mainly work on a flat dimensional plane, where Delsin is standing.
I guess what I'm trying to say behind all of my rambling is that I would much rather the devs focus on one power and put way more variety into it, like the previous entries, or just focus on 2 powers. But then people would complain that there's only 2 powers, and you can't have a guy where his main focus is absorbing powers and only give him 2. That's like sending a kid to a fair and saying, sorry, teacups and funnel cake only for you. And that's why there are 4 separate powers in this game. Oh, that's right. There are 4 powers in this game, not 3. I've only mentioned 3. And why have I done that? Well, the entire driving force of the plot in this game, the main reason you're doing any of this, is to get this last 4th power. And guess what? It is the most boring and underwhelming power in the entire game.
You are only able to obtain concrete after the last mission of the game, so it is kind of cool that you get 1 extra power when doing in-game stuff, but this power is not like the others. You have your normal shot, rockets, and traversal mechanic. The shot and rockets are just as unique as the others. By that I mean they're the same basically. But the traversal is actually kind of interesting. You barrel forward covered in concrete like Toph from The Last Airbender, but that's kind of it. If you run into a wall or a slight incline, the ride's over. You also are able to float a little bit higher by using your thrusters up to 3 times in a row. Cool. Where this power sucks is the lack of any L1 special or karma bomb, meaning there is no huge cinematic multi-man takedown or ability to subdue or kill enemies like the neon ball or the smoke bomb. This last power is so basic that it absolutely is the worst to use, and it is so anticlimactic. I mean, the devs could have added the concrete freeze ability with L1 like you see other enemies do countlessly throughout the game to Delsin. The devs couldn't even add a karma bomb to take down multiple enemies. We literally see this power used to take down entire bridges and even used as a goddamn mech at one point in the game. This just proves my theory that there was very limited time to reach this game's full potential. The build up to getting the power was absolutely not worth it in the end. Overall, I don't think having the multiple powers gimmick is worth it. Multiple times through my playthrough, I just kept thinking,
man, I'm kind of bored.
Which sucks because I literally couldn't put down the other Infamous games when I replayed them. I think another reason these powers fell so flat is not only due to the time constraints, but also how much the devs focused on making this game look like a next-gen PS4 title. They really wanted to make this game scream, I am next-gen, you can't run this on the super cool amazing cell processor! Which actually brings us to a highlight of the game, Infamous Second Son's ability to use the
With every new generation of consoles, there's always a gimmick. A game controller that looks exactly like a TV remote that somehow feels perfect to bowl with. 6-axis, ooh, gyro controls, but no vibration, which feels incredibly wrong. And, hey Pikachu! Hey Pikachu! Hey God damn it! The PS4's special gimmick was actually making a controller that is incredibly cool. A touchpad that could track touch. Pad. A glowing light on the front of the controller to indicate in-game statuses. A speaker for voice chat and in-game sound effects. And damn, that looks good. An actual generational leap in graphics. Just like every launch title for a new console, Sucker Punch used these gimmicks to the fullest. Not just in useless ways either. Every use of the DualShock 4 and the graphics for the PlayStation 4 are used to the max potential. And let's start with one of my favorite controllers ever made. The DualShock 4.
The DualShock 4 is so interesting to use in this game. I replayed this on PS5 and I still honestly missed the DualShock 4 even though the DualSense is almost identical. The beginning of the game demonstrates one of the gimmicks by turning the controller on its side and using it like a spray paint can, which somehow feels natural. It uses gyro to track where you're spraying at, and shaking the controller like you would a normal paint can, and even making the noise through the controller. This is one of the most immersive experiences I've ever had in a video game that wasn't VR related. Even though this does get old the 30th time you do it, it's still interesting. The light on the front of the controller also changes depending on your karmic status, not just red or blue either. It becomes a darker blue the more heroic you get, and a deeper red the more evil you become. The touchpad is used every time you need to destroy a DUP truck by swiping to pull out the generator? I think. You also use your finger to scan for the conduit gene at the beginning of the game and throughout Seattle at the different scan stations. The scan stations are optional though. You don't have to scan if you don't want to, but it's really cool that you even have the option if you just want to try it. There are also a ton of other ways you use the touchpad in Second Son. You press down on the touchpad to absorb powers, blast shards, and refill your energy meter. The speaker on the controller is used for getting phone calls and playing multiple sound effects like absorbing any power. It is genuinely awesome to see a studio put so much into a controller for a video game. I don't think I've seen another game during the PS4 generation use the DualShock 4 to this extent. Sucker Punch really tried their hardest to take full advantage of this controller, and of course, like every single console generation, every game studio started ditching the potential of the DualShock 4 after a few years. Sucker Punch also put just as much effort into the visuals of the game as they did the controller. I mean, what kind of insane sorcery did they use to make a launch window game in 2014 look this good? This game is 11 years old and it blows my mind how this looks better than some games that release today. Now you could say this was also a marketing gimmick for the PS4, a damn good one at that. Sucker Punch also talked a lot about the graphics and particle effects when they did a few behind the scenes videos about this game, which is absolutely fair. They worked their ass off to make this game look so damn good. Even watching a developer go into detail on how they made this work is fascinating. It's interesting to see what they did to pull off some of these special effects. Just looking at the lighting of the city and the little details of when Delsin evaporates into smoke and then reconstructs himself, it's incredible. The light trail of pinks and reds that are left behind Delsin running throughout Seattle with its neon traversal mechanic looks stunning. And the video power, especially when absorbing video through the TVs and it looks like it's taking the color with it, looks cool as hell.
I do have one complaint about the graphics in this game. Why is everything so goddamn dark? No amount of adjustments in the settings either can fix this. This game is just, you can't see shit. If anything is slightly dark in the game, especially when you start to use the neon powers, good luck seeing anything. You can really tell the devs are testing out the PS4's power with lighting effects in this game, for the better and for the worse. Besides that, basically everything visually in this game looks flawless. Well, actually, except for some of the face models, because they definitely look like they're from 2014. Side note, my friend always said that Delsin's face looks so goofy every time he absorbs the blast core and he lifts up into the air, and now I've never been able to unsee it. Every time I see this face, it looks stupid to me. It is kind of funny. I also did notice the devs at Sucker Punch like to talk about the look of the powers in the city instead of the gameplay itself, which supports my point earlier about combat. I'm not saying they did this on purpose. I'm just saying there was a lot of talk about the pretty city. Now, just like how Sucker Punch said Infamous 1 was a tech demo for the PS3 and how they could use it to their advantage, I feel like a similar approach was done with Infamous Second Son for the PS4. Now, I know it sounds stupid. To be fair, every studio that makes a new game for a new console is technically just testing it out. But Sucker Punch is owned by Sony. They probably had more inside information on what they could do with the new PS4 components. It was more so a test on how they could make the game look and play around with the graphics, mocap, and what the PS4 could actually do. When I played through this game twice, back to back, to me at least, all of the talk about how much focus there was on the graphics seemed more apparent. I did enjoy most of the writing and the story in the game, besides a few major gripes that I'll get to later. I loved the spectacle, and Second Son's story felt more grounded and less world-threatening, which made the game feel more realistic and relatable. No time travel, tentacle mouth bitches, 100-foot tall fire beasts, or swamp zombie monsters in this one. I was just mainly disappointed with the gameplay. Now that I actually mentioned story and gameplay, this brings me to another reason Infamous is unique from other superhero games. This is a part that requires its own section in every mainline Infamous video that I make due to the variety and complexity of the game mechanic. The ability to either become a hero or infamous, the power that gives the player the ability of...
The karma system is the big draw to fans of Infamous. Having a choice at all when it comes to what kind of superhero you wanted to be was what made me love the series in the first place. And in Second Son, it is more prevalent than ever. With Cole, the color of the electricity would change to red or blue depending on your karmic status, and that also applies to Delsin. But since there are 3 different powers in the game, technically 4, but concrete doesn't really change color, boo, give me red concrete, your abilities also reflect your choices. Smoke is more orange and standard looking for the hero path and becomes a sickly red color for the Infamous path. Neon is more traditionally pink for being a hero, while Evil creates a more red neon. And the same also applies to video. Blue video, red video, you get it. And your powers also change to fit your karmic needs. But this is where I have a few complaints. In previous entries, your powers and upgrades also changed to fit your specific karmic needs. Like the hero path allowed more precise, less destructive powers to make sure you didn't endanger the civilians around you. You were able to restrain enemies almost automatically, lessen the damage to pedestrians, heal a whole group at once, and so on. The evil path was way more destructive and less controlled. There was way more room for chaos, widespread damage, unlimited energy for bio-leeching, which I actually just realized isn't even in Second Son. Great! That's another thing that makes me disappointed. Now, some of those karmic-focused power elements remain in Second Son, like the video power allowing you to have multiple swords for the rocket to cause more damage. But other than that, it's kind of all over the place.
For instance, if you choose the hero path, one of the abilities you get for video is the ability to not hold the thruster button while aiming at the same time. This, I kid you not, is an essential upgrade, not just for video, but for every power in any Infamous game. Now, this is something that I did all the time anyways, but I had to hold the controller in such a weird way to get it done. Now, technically, you don't have to hold the controller in this weird way like I did, but if you want to use any other power, like the missile or traversal or any other thing, you have to hold it with like a claw shape. But if you get this upgrade for video, you don't have to do this weird claw shape. Delsin just automatically floats while you're aiming and you're able to do anything else. It's fantastic. For some ungodly reason, this upgrade is locked to the hero path only. You don't get this upgrade whatsoever if you choose to be evil, which makes no sense to me. This is not something that just benefits the hero path. It's just a nice upgrade. It makes traversal and combat way more usable. If you're a hero, with Neon, holding the aim button slows down time so you're able to subdue your enemies a whole lot safer and a whole lot quicker. I get that. However, if you're evil, slowing down time would make it a whole lot easier to kill enemies instantly by shooting at their head. So again, it doesn't make sense for it to only be locked to the hero path. And these decisions are kind of all over the place with this skill tree. It just kind of seems like the devs just kind of picked and choose different abilities to put with the different karmic paths to seem like each path had its own benefit. You kind of just wish all of these abilities were available everywhere. And I don't know, that's whatever. I feel like I'm going crazy.
Other than powers, we also get optional karmic events and main storyline choices that can affect the rest of the game. The optional karma stuff in the open world is almost the same as the previous entries. You have the street performers that you can kill if they annoy you, suspected conduits that you can save in the streets, suspected conduits in cages that you can free, drug dealers you can take down, the Occurrence, which is a fictional Russian drug dealing gang, and again, baffling decision, you kill these guys for bad karma, but you kill the normal drug dealers for good karma. I really don't understand that at all. You also can graffiti a good and bad design on select places in Seattle. Some of these designs aren't even that good or evil. They're cool, but like I keep pointing out, some things just don't really make a whole lot of sense karmically. The main focus of Infamous is choosing to be good or evil, which requires more development and time due to the variation of gameplay and events. But in Second Son, I just keep noticing sprinkles of, we don't have more time to put more thought or work into this. One thing that is missing in this game that is very prevalent in the prequels is the good and bad karmic side missions. This just gave the player an extra thing to do in some cases, but I actually really enjoyed some of these karmic side missions. They felt unique to your path and made sense especially for the ability to choose format. They just don't exist in Second Son. No good or bad side missions at all. Just the normal optional events in the open world and the karmic decisions you make in the main story, which is also a little bit of a letdown because there are only 5 big choices you can make in the main story. These decisions are definitely the highlight of the karma system in my opinion, especially the final 2, which we'll save for later. At this point, it really just feels like Sucker Punch is including the karma system because they have to. You can still rampage throughout the streets and kill as many civilians as you want, or heal random civilians if they're hurt. But other than that, I don't really feel like my choices are impacting anything. There aren't really any different powers that you get if you choose a specific karmic path, like in Infamous 2.
I really hate to say it, but Second Son has that open world fatigue type vibe. And I even felt this way before all the open world games started shitting out like wildfire. That really sucks because I truly believe that this open world is so beautiful, interesting, and has so much potential. Which brings us to this brand new non-fictional location for the first time in the franchise, the wonderful world of The devs decided to play Second Son in the real world of Seattle due to the location of their office being located in the same place. Honestly, it's awesome for once to have an open world game take place in a real modern location. Seeing the Space Needle and other businesses that are actually located in Seattle is sick. Hey look, Cole McGee's and Sly Cooper. I know this must have been such an intimidating task for Sucker Punch to take on. With creating a fictional world, you don't have to worry about landmarks, building locations, street accuracy, none of that. But when you make an in-game open world based on a real place, there has to be at least some accuracy. I know for a fact it's harder to recreate something that already exists rather than make it from something that's just in your mind. I don't know how accurate this place is to the real Seattle because I've never been there, but damn, this place is so gorgeous, I don't even care. Looks good enough to me. Besides the location, we also have side missions, DUP bases, and once you clear the area out enough, a DUP district showdown. The side missions are my least favorite part of the open world. You can stand in one place and find the hidden camera, hunt down a secret DUP agent disguised as a civilian model, find dead drops, graffiti, and that's it. That explains why I had no motivation at all for doing these missions. They're not exactly fun to do over and over. Oh wait, there is actually one very interesting side mission that was released as DLC. Cole's Legacy? Explaining the events of what happens between Infamous 2 and Infamous Second Son. Oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. Let's go! What the absolute hell was that? I was so excited to play these missions for the very first time. The mission starts off with you talking to Dr. Wolf's brother, Raymond Wolf. Dr. Wolf was the guy who made the race sphere in Infamous 1, basically activating superpowers in people and the reason Cole McGrath got powers in the first place. Raymond basically just explains that he's trying to expose the DUP, like you're trying to do right now. These missions consist of you following fish stickered on the wall to get you to a certain place, only to fight DUP agents. You listen to a few audio logs, which don't really explain anything new. It doesn't explain how conduits came back, which is the biggest question I had.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
After Infamous 2, there aren't supposed to be any conduits left in the world, so the information here is useless. These missions consist of go here and kill the common enemies in this world, rinse and repeat until the last mission. But Raymond does mention a guy that is helping him expose the DUP, and this guy turns out to be none other than Zeke Dunbar. This is the coolest part about this mission. For a little bit, at least. This one interaction boils down to Zeke making a sexual innuendo about being a conduit and having superpowers and something about a fucking fireworks sandwich. After Raymond Wolf is killed by the DUP, he leaves a message for Delsin to give the evidence he found to Zeke. Oh sweet, we actually get to meet Zeke? Delsin and Zeke get to meet and shake hands like one generation passing off the torch to the other? That's awesome! Nope. Nope, why are you getting your hopes too high? Don't think like that. Delsin just brings the evidence to a location and drops it off because Zeke's excuse is that he's undercover and he can't come out in public at all, I guess. Now I get if the devs actually put Zeke in the game, they'd have to hire an actor or even get the same voice actor to come in and do the mocap, and that costs a little bit more extra money. I get it. But for something that's released as a paid DLC, come on. Now, I'm sorry, actually, to be fair, this was made as free DLC in 2022. It would have made the mission feel a whole lot less hollow if Delsin and Zeke actually got to meet, or Zeke made a cameo even for a few short seconds or something, when he's this disembodied voice over a phone call. And they even use the image for Zeke in the phone call from Infamous 2. It just feels incredibly hollow. Now you actually do get Cole's jacket as a costume, which is amazing. That's really cool. But meeting Zeke with PS4 graphics, mind you, would have made the title Cole's Legacy actually mean something. Now at the very end of the mission, Zeke does tell Delsin Cole would be proud. And that hit extremely hard. Until Delsin says, cool. Thanks. Talk to you later, Zeke. What? This makes it sound like Delsin doesn't even know who Cole McGrath is, which in this world, one guy gave his life to save billions of people. You're telling me that that guy wouldn't be widely known around the world and his story wouldn't be told for centuries? Yeah, right, come on. I'm just saying it kind of sounds like Cole McGrath is similar to another guy that gave his life for billions of people. I'm just saying, and that guy's widely known. That's blasphemy. I'm gonna get in trouble for that. I just didn't like this whole side mission. They really shouldn't have called it Cole's Legacy. That makes the mission sound bigger than it actually is. It sets up an expectation that's unreal, especially for people who've been following Infamous since 2009. Okay, my nerdy rant is now over for an optional downloadable side mission in a game about superpowers. Back to the other open world stuff. Taking down the DUP bases and doing the district showdowns was obviously the most enjoyable part of the open world, especially when you can save up your karma bomb and just take down everyone all at once, or alternatively, zip around all over the place and take down as many DUP agents as possible. By doing district showdowns, you also get some extra vests for Delsin. These vests are, that's really hard to say, these vests are a nice addition if you want to change up Delsin's look, but I do miss having like entire skins that you can change. Even if I got to change Delsin's clothes a little bit, that would have been nice. I'm not a huge fan of the vest, but I do like the clothes Delsin is wearing in the cutscene after he wakes up in the lodge house. I love extra skins and costumes in video games. I just wish there was more than just changing his vest. I've taken down almost all the DUP and all I got was this lousy vest. Oh yeah. These fuckers. You know what is really interesting? Having multiple different types of enemies to defeat, all with their own unique characteristics. Like, I don't know, maybe a gang member violently throwing up black goo that shoots at you, a swamp zombie monster that cannot hold a gun but can run super fast towards you, a literal giant walking all over the place trying to stomp on you. You know what's not interesting? Fighting the same type of guy all throughout a 20-hour campaign. Okay, alright. There are a few variations of this guy, like the one that has a minigun and a guy that can put concrete around your feet to freeze you in place and protect the other DUP agents, and on occasion, this concrete behemoth of a guy that can use concrete like a whip and basically fly. But this guy pops up only a handful of times. The DUP agents are a little underwhelming, but they do solely exist to capture and imprison conduits, which is the whole point of stopping Augustine, which brings us back to the story in this game. Infamous has always been interesting due to the fact that there can be different endings and cutscenes depending on your choices. And damn, does Second Son have different outcomes. Second Son has one of the most heart-wrenching endings to a video game I've ever seen. But before we get to that ending, let's start off with a gripe that I have for the game, and it actually has something to do with a major plot point. Now, if you've watched this far, thank you first of all, and also, major spoilers ahead. Sprinkled throughout the game, there are big karmic choices you can make. In the beginning, you can choose to give yourself up to Augustine, or tell her to fuck off and risk hurting the Akomish tribe. Either way, Nana gets concrete in the leg. When you run into the other main conduits in the game, you have to choose to corrupt them or lead them to a similar path of heroism. With Fetch, the Neon Conduit for instance, you can guide her on a path of killing the drug dealers in the city to clean up the streets, or kill the anti-conduit protesters instead. Either way, Delsin hooks up with her, which is way less creepy than Cole's interactions with Nix in Infamous 2. Delsin is a gentleman. With Eugene, the video conduit, you can help him take down the DUP officers and save suspected conduits, or on the evil side, notice how I'm saying evil side, you can guide him to kill the drug dealers. Oh, but they're the occurrence, the Russian gang. See? It doesn't make any sense. The good side has you kill drug dealers for Fetch, and the evil side has you kill drug dealers for Eugene. These decisions don't really feel like they have much of a ripple effect on anything else in the game, and they also don't make sense karmically, which I thought that's what the point of making these decisions were for. Corrupting Fetch and Eugene does have different outcomes inside the few missions they're in, like yeah, you technically make Fetch and Eugene slightly more evil or good, but does that affect the ending or side missions in any way possible? No. Not at all. See, at least with the previous two games, you had good and bad side missions to either bond with the other characters or feel like you were truly doing evil or good things, helping the cops in Infamous 1 or spreading chaos with Sasha, causing destruction and killing innocent people with Nix, or saving people and getting medicine to those who need it with Quo in Infamous 2. In Second Son, you do have the illusion of making these big choices, but it doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything most of the time. It might help me feel more like that if I had more commentary from Delsin's brother, who is a cop in this game. Now I do want to talk more about this guy, Reggie. He is the best character in the entire game. Not only is he funny and his line delivery is good.
What truck? I don't have a truck, That's my truck.
He has good, genuine morals and just wants to help his brother and protect the innocent people. He does have trouble accepting conduits at first, but he comes around towards the end and starts respecting them. Yes, his own brother was a conduit, but he didn't care at all. He loves his brother more than anything. It's hinted at that Reggie and Delson's parents died when they were younger, so it sounds like Reggie raised Delson in a way, which makes him that much better.
I love this guy. This is the best big brother I've ever seen in a video game. He is with Delson all the way through. So why the fuck does he not comment on his actions more? Now, he does make a few comments when Delson decides to kill a few protesters or kill a few drug dealers, and even when he decides to murder cops. But I can count on one hand with how many comments Reggie makes throughout the entire game. So many times throughout the game, I just kept thinking, what does Reggie think about what Delson is doing? Like when Delson is disintegrating cops, or killing random innocent people on the streets, or setting people free. This is a guy that has so many good morals and is a cop and just wants to do the right thing. I want to hear from this guy. Now, I don't want Reggie to comment on every single thing the player is doing. That would be incredibly annoying. But I do want to hear more from him. I want this guy to make the player feel like what they're doing has real impact. If he did that, Delson's choices would feel way more consequential without anything actually happening. In my opinion, Reggie should be the main anchor in the karma system.
I'll say it again. He's the best character in the game, which genuinely sucks because no matter what you do, no matter what choices you make, how many people you save, the outcome of this next event stays the same. When Delson finds out that Hank, the smoke conduit, is still alive, Hank tells Delson he wants to help him stop Augustine and that she's captured Fetch and Eugene. And he also mentions he knows where a core relay is to get Delson a new power. So Hank and Delson go to a DUP base to get the core relay to save Fetch and Eugene. But when Delson gets there...
Hank!
Henry, you didn't disappoint me.
I did like you asked. You just do like you promised.
You son of a bitch, I trusted you!
My brother finds out what you did. Oh, he is gonna...
He's gonna what?
The legend returns. Reggie helps Delson get to Eugene and Fetch so he can save them. And then while Delson cannot do anything and his hands are covered in concrete, Reggie helps him all the way through, get to the very top, so he can save Fetch and Eugene.
As long as we are here.
Oh crap!
Look out! Stop!
Leave my brother alone, you bitch!
Oh, dear God.
Reggie!
Come on.
Where's he?
Delson, look at me. You gotta let me go.
No, I can do this.
Listen, we can't let this stuff get to you two. I'm so proud of you.
No.
Always have been.
No. Reggie, don't.
I love you, bro.
No!
No matter how many times I play this game, this part right here gets me every time. I actually have an older brother that I look up to quite a bit, and Reggie honestly reminds me a lot of him. So it makes this part hit way harder for me personally. Seeing Delson's reaction to his brother just dying, he looks just paralyzed with grief and rage at the same time. Troy Baker is amazing. I don't know if I've said that yet, but Troy Baker is amazing. When he fights Augustine and he kicks her on the ground saying,
"You killed him!"
the player can feel that rage. And then when Delson does the orbital drop, his face reflects the pain and anger he's feeling. God, that's so good. I think this is my favorite mission in the game. This is awesome. This is the attention to detail that Sucker Punch is known for. But of course, right after this mission, like instantly after, this face goes away. Not even 10 minutes of the player seeing this huge emotional and heartbreaking moment, Delson's just smiling again. Whee! I didn't want this face to stay forever, but this is basically at the end of the game anyways. I would have loved it if the devs decided to make Delson still look like he's angry and grieving until the end, which is like 2 missions away. Again, that would have made it feel more impactful. Now, of course, this is a huge and very big part of the story in Second Son, but there is one gigantic issue with this scene. When Delson makes good choices and chooses to be a hero, saving countless lives, Reggie says,
I'm so proud of you.
But when Delson is evil and kills countless people and cops, Reggie instead says,
I'm so proud of you.
He says the same fucking thing. Okay, I know for an absolute fact that at least one of the writers or developers had to say, this doesn't make any sense. Now I know what you're thinking, Casey Deku, how do you even know this? You're not a writer, you're not a game developer, what do you know? Because the same thing happened in Infamous 1. Cole's girlfriend Trish falls off a building and Cole is able to bring her back to life to speak to her one last time. And if you choose the hero path, she says how proud she is of you, of the man that you've become before she dies. And if you're evil, she actually says something different. She says that she's disgusted in you of the horrible human being you've become by killing innocent people. Now, did they have to go this far with Reggie? No, absolutely not. I would have been fine if Reggie just said, Delsin, please do better, I know you can. Or even if they change it just very slightly to where he says, damn it, I love you so much, because we know that he does, instead of saying, I'm proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
Really? Really? You're proud of your brother that's killed countless innocent people and countless cops just because he wanted to? Now, any player, new and old, would kind of slightly turn their head at this point in the game, especially if they chose the evil path. It doesn't make any sense. This is one of, if not the biggest narrative point in the entire game. So it kind of breaks the immersion when the good guy of the game with all these great morals tells his brother who's killed countless people, I'm proud of you. It really makes me feel like I didn't choose the evil path, and it just feels like one of those cliche games where it gives you the illusion of multiple choice, but everything in the game kind of stays the same no matter what choice you make. And that sucks to say, because Sucker Punch, especially in the previous games, was known for not doing that. But to my point earlier, there had to be some time crunch in development, which is why this plot hole was left in.
Once you get past this point in the game, there are only two choices left. Delsin tracks down Hank for betraying him and basically being the reason that Reggie is dead. Once Delsin finds him, he finds out Hank only double-crossed him because
she had my daughter.
Oh man. Damn it, how do I feel bad now? Hank is trying to escape to get out of Seattle, but understandably, Delsin's anger overcomes him. He grabs Hank, and then Hank's daughter starts to pull up to the shore on a boat. You have to make the decision to kill Hank or let him go. Sparing Hank allows him to leave with his daughter, and Hank feels genuine remorse and guilt for being responsible for Reggie's death. He didn't want to kill anyone, he just wanted to be with his daughter. He even offers Delsin an invitation to come with him so he can run away and be safe as well. But killing Hank is just as horrible as it sounds.
Eye for an eye, asshole.
Now this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to feel when choosing the evil path. I want to feel horrible for the actions that I've chosen. I want to feel like making these choices are just as bad as breaking bones. I don't want to do this. Hank's daughter is out there calling for her dad, and Hank is being choked by the chain, reaching for his daughter, and Delsin is showing no remorse. And after Delsin kills Hank, he just looks back at his daughter on the boat with no feeling and just continues walking. God damn, that sucks. And that's a good thing. That's the point of being infamous.
Once you kill or spare Hank, there's one thing left to do. Stop Augustine, steal her power, and save the Akomish. There's also one choice left to make. Kill or expose Augustine. Once you get through climbing this massive tower and confronting Augustine, he kicks the shit out of her, steals her power, and she tells you the truth about why she created the DUP. She says she wanted to save conduits. She knew that after the events of Infamous 2, conduits would never be accepted. So of course, understandably, she created a prison for them so they could be safe. This bitch is just as crazy as everyone thought. You get to use the boring concrete power and either kill Augustine by dropping her off a building, or you get to expose her by trapping her in concrete as well. Either way, Delsin lets all the conduits out of prison. But on the evil side, he actually says something pretty badass.
I'm gonna shake each and every one of their hands on their way out the door. So many different powers, all in one place.
Ooh, that's a nice touch. Now, the ending of any Infamous game is a huge deal. Depending on what the player chose, it can show two completely different outcomes with different reactions. It's incredibly interesting for the player, especially if they chose to beat the game on both sides. In Second Son, earns the title of an infamous game with both of these endings. We finally get to the ending of the game, the last cutscene, the culmination of your decisions. The player gets to see what their actions have affected. We'll start with the hero path. After exposing Augustine and letting all the conduits out of prison, Delsin makes his way back to the Akomish Lodge house. Betty wakes up, sees Delsin, smiles as Delsin removes the concrete from her legs. Her face just looks so proud and so happy. I feel like I made my Nana proud. Oh, I'm so glad I could save my Nana. And then she asks where Reggie is. And Delsin just says,
Reggie saved me. I love you, brother. I'm sure gonna miss you.
This is just the perfect ending for choosing to be good, especially with the classic callback to Infamous 2. This billboard moves me to tears every time. I want this framed in my room. End credits. What a good, heartwarming ending. This genuinely feels rewarding. It makes the player feel all warm and fuzzy inside for making the right decisions, which again, is the thing I'm looking for in this game. I want to feel great for choosing to be the hero. I want my family to be proud of me. I wanted to make Reggie proud and save the city or even the world from a dictatorous monster. The good ending serves its purpose and then some. It's short and sweet. It's perfect. Now, let's see the horrible opposite side of that coin. When Delsin returns to the Akomish after killing Augustine, he doesn't even get to make it in the door. Betty confronts him from her wheelchair, and damn, she does not look happy. I get genuinely nervous from looking at that face. Nana is mad at me. She says the TV showed everything Delsin did. Everything the player has done, which if you're evil... Uh-oh.
I saw you kill dozens of innocent people.
Oh, Nana. I killed way more than dozens of people. Delsin says he wasn't going to let anyone stop him from saving his people, and that he still wants to help the Akomish. After all, it's what he spent the last few days doing, the entire game. But Betty says,
You have disgraced our people. You have disgraced our ancestors. And you have disgraced the memory of your brother. You are a Akomish no longer.
Oh my god, look at Delsin's face. Holy shit, this gave me chills. That's genuinely terrifying. If you haven't reached the karmic title of Infamous yet in the game, it ends after Betty shuts the door. But if you have earned the title of Infamous, it's so much worse than you can imagine.
You, everybody else, will die without me. Or have you forgotten that?
We haven't forgotten. And we will never forget.
But...
Just like how I said the good ending was perfect, that also applies to the evil ending, but in a much different way. I did not expect this to happen at all. I knew Betty wouldn't be happy about Delsin's evil actions, but to kill everybody? I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. And the way this cutscene is directed just makes it feel so much more insidious. How Betty looks, how disappointed she is, how Delsin looks after Betty mentions Reggie, how Delsin just stands outside the door in disbelief when Betty shuts it on him. And then there's the famous cutaway right before Delsin hits the ground with the orbital drop. The player has seen the orbital drop multiple times throughout the game, but cutting it at the very end right before he kills his family, it just sends chills up your spine. Damn, this evil ending just puts the evil little sour cherry right on top. This almost makes up for every complaint I've had about the game so far. Almost. Now, of course, every game has its problems, but Infamous Second Son just disappointed me a whole lot more than I thought it would, especially since it was the last Infamous game to ever release, which breaks my heart that much more. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of this video. Second Son truly...
Wait, there's another Infamous game.
What?
I said there's another Infamous game.
There's another Infamous game?
Yeah, dumbass.
And it was released after Second Son? And it's better than Second Son?
No, I didn't say that.
What game is this? I've never heard of this game.
I have never played First Light before. I bought it this year to play it for this specific video. I assumed it would have left me disappointed like Second Son, but I was wrong. Way wrong. Now, First Light still takes place in Seattle, but it follows the story of Fetch and the events before Second Son. This is a standalone DLC. It's only about 4 to 5 hours, but don't get it twisted. This is a packed quality DLC. You play as Fetch, and this of course means you only use her one power, Neon. However, like I mentioned earlier, focusing on one power has its benefits. Playing through this game, I felt that I was playing an Infamous game again. From the beginning, it just feels different. I lost that sense of playing an Infamous game when I went through Second Son occasionally, which is weird because First Light doesn't even have a karma system at all. That's the only downside to this game. The highlight though are Fetch's Neon powers. There are actually gameplay mechanics that were included in this game that are missing from Second Son, surprisingly. Fetch has all the power bells and whistles that you'd expect. She has the standard laser shot, the thunder drop, and the hover mechanic, but everything else feels different. When using the traversal mechanic, it's faster, more fluid, and works better in some cases. Like going up a building, if there's an obstacle in the way, Fetch just morphs around it instead of hitting it like a brick wall. Plus, it just looks better. There are little neon markers that make Fetch go much faster and jump higher. These are mainly used for collecting neon lumens, which work like blast shards for upgrading your abilities and expanding your skill tree. And collecting these things are a lot more fun than those damn blast shards. Traversal just feels so much better in this game. The world also feels different because there aren't DUP checkpoints everywhere, which gives that feeling of freshness to a world you've already explored as Delsin. Speaking of that feeling of freshness, even if you played the hell out of Second Son like me, the neon power feels new and exciting.
In order to make this game feel unique, especially for players that's already played Second Son, they had to make Fetch's powers feel different and distinct from Delsin's. And surprisingly, somehow, they nailed it. Fetch feels way different from Delsin, even with the exact same neon power. For one, and very much importantly, her melee combat is so much better than Delsin's. She punches incredibly fast, and there's weight and actually impact behind every single punch. It's so fun. This is way better than Delsin's stupid chain. Not only is the standard punching in First Light better, there's also a finisher. Automatic win. First Light wins. No contest. No contest. First Light is way better than Second Son.
This is something that is sorely missing from Second Son. I missed this mechanic so much. Even though there's only one finisher, it just makes combat so much more satisfying, especially when you're punching the shit out of one guy and then you point your finisher to a completely different guy, knocking him back incredibly far. It's so satisfying. Fetch also has different variations of powers compared to Delsin. Holding L1 sends a neon wave towards an enemy, trapping them in stasis, giving you the ability to subdue them. It feels a lot similar to the shockwave from Infamous 1 and 2. R1 is your standard rocket, but its functionality changes depending on Fetch's distance and how many enemies there are. They're like sticky rockets. Holding circle and pressing the melee button knocks the enemy back and also traps them in stasis, which just adds to the options you have when combining powers. By this I mean you can hold circle and press the melee button to knock an enemy back, trapping them in stasis, while you turn your attention towards another guy, hitting the shit out of them, and then turning toward another guy to perform a finisher. Shoot a rocket at this guy, knock back this guy, and so on and so on. Combat with your powers in First Light just feels so much more diverse and free compared to Second Son. The skill tree also has more upgrades to your base powers than Second Son does. Once you beat the game, you even unlock more more to the skill tree to make Fetch unstoppable. If you own Second Son, you can also play as Delsin in the Battle Arena mode. This mode has different options including endless waves of enemies, save the hostages, and defeating Eugene's video demons. So it actually looks like Sucker Punch even added unique enemies to this game not seen in Second Son. That's what I like to see. So much is packed into this DLC. Even if this DLC doesn't technically give you more powers, just the added melee combat with slight tweaks to other powers gives the illusion of more variation. And then there's the fact that First Light is just more fun. I will die on this hill. The story is also genuinely great. You really feel the connection between Fetch and her brother. Her brother is similar to Reggie. He's raising Fetch, he's protecting her, trying to make sure she's making good decisions. Even though Fetch has powers, he doesn't want her to use them for evil, or at all, really in this case. Even when they get robbed and they have no money or a house, he tells her to stay calm. He's just written to be so likable. Even though this game is very short, the story feels flushed out, and it does a great job with the time that it has. Also, taking out the karma stuff does give the devs and the writers more time to focus on the story and the powers. I don't really want to spoil anything for this game, just in case there are people out there like me who played Second Son and never really got to play First Light, and I've already spoiled Second Son. I don't want to spoil this one for you. I'll just say it absolutely is worth the playthrough, and it doesn't take much time at all. Now, this open world does have side missions kind of similar to the main game. You have your spray painting missions, which are actually switched out for Fetch's neon laser type thing, and it looks incredible. There are drone missions similar to the security camera missions in Second Son, and there's also Lumen Races, which uses Fetch's incredibly awesome traversal mechanic to catch these lumens, which are used for upgrading Fetch's powers. Besides that, there's not really that much else to do in the standalone DLC, which is fine by me. It's short and sweet. Plus, this game is always on sale, and in my opinion, it's worth more than it is on sale. The standalone DLC genuinely surprised me, and I had way more fun with it than I did with Second Son. Now, granted, this was my very first time playing this, and I've beaten Second Son almost like 7 times, so keep that in mind. Now, besides this game missing the karma system, it genuinely felt like a return to form for Infamous. I had such an amazing time with First Light. I just really hope this isn't the end. After everything I just played, thought over, obsessed over, wrote a 17-page script on, replayed over and over again, I honestly would have preferred First Light to be a full game rather than Second Son. First Light has so much potential on being a full Infamous experience, and that breaks my heart to say because despite everything I've already complained about, I still like Second Son. At the end of the day, it still is Infamous, and unless the developers fuck it up in a major way and make it just a horrible game, I'll still play Infamous. Who am I kidding? I'm still gonna play an Infamous game, even if it ends up being horrible. I'm gonna play it no matter what. Unfortunately, Infamous Second Son and First Light were the last Infamous things to ever release, and that brings us to the conclusion of this video, which is extremely hard for me to write because it's the ending of a journey that I started back in 2023 when I made the first Infamous video. I wanted to replay my favorite game and just write down what I liked, what I loved, how I felt, and make an awesome video and hopefully relate to other people that feel the same way that I do about that game. This series has impacted me in a way that no other game has, and I'm not saying Infamous is the best game series ever made. I can admit that. There are better games out there, but Infamous just means so much more to me than just a game. I mentioned in my Infamous 1 video that I went through an extremely hard time in my life when I played Infamous for the very first time. And I'm not trying to ask for sympathy or attention or anything like that. I just think it would bring these videos full circle if I explained what that hard time was and how Infamous got me through it. In 2008, when I was 11 years old, I lost my mother. I was confused, scared, depressed. I felt like I'd lost all control over everything in my life. This is a point in my life where I realized truly anything can happen in your life, completely out of your control. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to guide it.
It's gonna happen. So a year later, in 2009, when I played a game that gave me all of the control, all the ability to choose what I wanted to do, it felt amazing. Now, I chose to be a good person, to save people, protect them, heal them. Now, it was just a video game, of course, but it did make me feel like I was in control, even for a little bit. This game didn't cure my depression or anything. It took many years and many family members and many friends to do that. But I would be lying if I said this game didn't help at all. And I truly want to thank the people at Sucker Punch for making me feel good in a time where I felt very, very bad. I really hope one day that this series will be revived or continued, whether that be a port to PC or a remake or remaster on PS5. Anything would be good, really. It's a genuine shame that almost all the other PlayStation games have been made accessible besides the infamous games. God of War, Uncharted, Sly Cooper, and even some PS4 and PS5 games have been ported to PC. Second Son is stuck on PS4 and PS5 through backwards compatibility. Infamous 1 and 2 are only available to stream, locked behind a paywall. There are so many more problems in the world than these games aren't accessible through modern methods. I know how I sound right now, but the infamous games mean so much to me and so many more people. I truly hope there are plans for this game in the future, but you know what? If there aren't, I'm not happy about it, but I'll be okay. If this truly is the end of Infamous, no ports, no sequels, no remasters, these games are stuck where they are, they've already helped me. They got me through the toughest times of my life. They did more for me than what any of the developers at Sucker Punch probably could have ever dreamed of. I've said it again, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. Infamous has always been more than a game to me. It's a great memory.